Welcome everyone to episode 56 of This Week in Geek. This is an episode I am very excited about when it comes to our main topic, but we'll get to there in the meantime. Before that, first and foremost, however you're finding us, thank you for finding us. Whether you're watching us live on YouTube, watching the replay, or listening to us on Spotify, thank you for being here. My name is Ren, and I'm joined by my co-host Patrick, all the way from Australia today. How are you doing today, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty all right. I'm doing pretty all right. I've had a pretty good week when it comes to movies. I haven't seen Barbie or anything yet, which makes me a little upset, but I'm excited to finally see it tomorrow. My mates and I are going to wear pink clothes for it, obviously, because of course we are.
Yes, of course. You did the Heimer part of the double feature first. You started with Heimer.
Oh, that we started with Heimer, then we're going to go Barb, and I'm excited to do the same thing in about 2 months for two other movies, which I'm sure we will talk about in a little
Saw
bit later
Patrol.
in the
You're
show.
doing Saw Patrol.
Saw Patrol, bro. You know I'm doing Saw Patrol.
I'm surprised at least one half of that double feature. To be honest, not gonna lie, did not expect it to go there. So, but before we get into the Saw Patrol and the Barbenheimers and everything in between, in case you're new to the show, first of all, thank you for being new to the show. Thank you for joining us. This show is basically done in three parts. First and foremost is our weekly ranking. That's when me and Patrick go through everything we watched this past week rather quickly, and we rank them from worst to best. Then we go into the main topic of the show, which you see on the title, on the thumbnail, on the community tab for you to ask questions. And speaking of asking questions, that's the third part of the show. That's the best part of the show, where we answer your questions, which you leave on the community tab in the post with the thumbnail for this video. But if you want to guarantee your question is answered, you can always actively support the show through the tip link or the super chat feature. Now, there has been a brand new segment per se on the show in the past few weeks, because every now and then we're not sure if next week there's going to be a show. So I always start these shows by saying, can we have a show next week? Do we have to wait maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks? So to kick us off, here's the announcement. Always that segment everyone kind of waits for and hopes I don't say anything, because if I don't say anything, it means we have a show. We have been on a pretty good streak, Patrick. Whether you're here, whether I'm with Zach, we've been on a pretty good streak. I think for 4 weeks now. I don't want to say
4 or
5.
4 or 5.
Yeah, it's got to be 4 or 5. It's not more than that. It's not less than that. Does the streak continue next week? Yes, it does, ladies and gentlemen. We are having a show next week. We're having a show next week, and the day after that, I'm watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
So you know what? Fuck you. I'm really excited for that movie. I'm a massive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. We don't get that till the same weekend as Blue Beetle in September. I'm so sad.
Oh, and you also get Blue Beetle delayed. Well, that's gonna flop anyway, so don't worry. Nobody's gonna see it.
No. I'm gonna see it. I'm really excited.
I'm gonna see it too. I've always loved it, but I'm gonna see it.
You know what? I'm going to pay for it just so it, accounts to the box office anyway. I'm going to book pre-screen tickets even if I don't like the movie.
The $15 Beetle.
The $15 Beetle. That's exactly right. The $15 million Beetle.
$15 million. Even if imagine if the total is 50. Jesus Christ.
Hey, it's going to perform like the last Saw movie.
Hopefully a little better than that, I hope. But
I hope too, actually.
I'm sure we'll get a lot of. I know we have some Blue Beetle questions today. I know we'll get a lot of Blue Beetle conversation as we get closer to the release, as we get into the release, as we get post-release and all that. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with our weekly ranking. And I haven't put up my review of Oppenheimer yet, so I will not be ranking Oppenheimer with anything. And if it was, it would probably be a much longer weekly ranking, because it would be a lot more complicated, because I still can't decide between Oppenheimer and Barbie, just to let you know. In last place, I have Hijack, episode 5. This show continues to be really, really solid. I think there's just a few story threads that are in the background that we're about halfway through, if not over halfway through the show at this point, and there are just quite a few things that are not connecting. They're interesting, but I really don't know what they have to do with our main story, unfortunately. On top of that, Secret Invasion this week was really good. And last week we talked about whether because you guys asked about it, whether Secret Invasion could have worked better as a movie. Does it work as a show? And I was doing something on my computer when I put it on. And I usually always skip the recaps because I'm like, I've seen the episode. I don't need the recaps. For some reason, I didn't click to skip the recap. And suddenly particularly this week's recap episode, you watch this recap and imagine being a studio exec and they have shot the show, they have edited this recap just to, okay, at some point, all of this will have happened and we're not even at the end of the show. That recap with all those major beats is like, why isn't this show being overall great? Because you watch that recap and you're like, this is great. This is fantastic. And then you remember all the previous episodes and no, apart from all these moments, it just isn't all coming together. So I'm actually fascinated by how not great this show is, because it has all these great things in it, these great story beats, these great story threads, these great compelling themes and compelling dynamics and relationships. And I don't know what it is that it's just not being pulled together. And not to say Secret Invasions is a horrible show. I don't think Secret Invasions is a horrible show. I think it's a very solid show. And then it has these flashes of, you could be top 5 MCU things ever.
I caught up, and I'll admit it's easily like my favorite of the Marvel shows since WandaVision.
All right,
like, that's not saying I love the show by any means. Like, I really enjoyed Miss Marvel, but there were a lot of fucking flops in the middle of the season for Miss Marvel. And Secret Invasion's sort of in the same boat for me personally, but I don't know. I'm not, for instance, ranking Secret Invasion because I've only just watched episode 4 like the other day, and I'm like, I don't really want to include it on my ranking because I just don't care enough about it at this point. But I'll say, with what my ranking is, it'd probably be like dead center in the middle. It's not the worst, it's not the best. There are these moments where I'm like, there is wasted opportunity. However, like so much wasted opportunity where you could be really high. Like the highs in the show are really high, but there are sort of fluffy moments where I'm like, if you just altered this that way a little bit, you could easily have one of the best things the MCU has provided in a while, in my opinion. Aside from, when it comes to the shows, I should specify, as aside from like the movies with like Eternals and Guardians 3 and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, it's fascinating to me that, because that recap, when I answered the question last week, was like, no, the show has all these things. And then the recap is like, no, this should be fantastic. I don't know why I still can't figure it out. So that's my number 2. And my number 1, Barbie. It's just as great as I want it to be. And it has all these surprising angles to it and approach, and what Gerwig explores. And the performances are fantastic. The songs are wonderful. I've been busting out I'm Just Ken for the last day and a half, and today I played a little bit on the guitar while I was alone, not doing anything before lunch.
Nice.
It's really fun. So yeah, I'm in love with this movie. I cannot wait to see it again. I haven't booked tickets because everything is fucking sold out. Me and Patrick were talking about it before the show started. It's like, I can't
be really happy.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just happy I already seen it. So it's not like I'm missing out completely on anything. But I do want to go watch it again because I know I missed some lines just because of how loud I was laughing, how loud everyone else was laughing at certain moments. So it's one to see multiple times, just like the other movie that came out this week, though not as joyous an experience, I would say. Barbie ranks just a tiny bit above Oppenheimer in the joyous scale. So that's my weekly ranking. Patrick, what do you got?
I watched quite a bit. I eventually remembered everything I watched this week and managed to put it in a ranking list. But I'll say there's only one thing this week I actually didn't like.
Okay.
And that first one is The Nun. I was like, that first trailer for The Nun 2 was great. Like, it looks really good. And I showed a bunch of my mates. We all want to go see it together when it comes out in September. I was like, it's on Netflix. I'll give it a watch. Fuck.
Wait, but have you never seen it before?
No, I'd seen it. I rewatched it.
Okay.
I rewatched The Nun, and I'm just sitting here going, fuck.
That sucks.
Give me some fucking copium, like, or some marijuana, please, because this shit, nah, this is, it's one of the gloomiest, darkest, like, not even thematically, like, visually speaking, it's like Alien vs. Predator Requiem levels of dark.
You can't see anything.
The CG on Valak, I don't know why they decided to do that, considering The Conjuring 2 practical Valak, and it worked really well with just a bit of line work. The movie's boring is its biggest fault. Nothing fucking happens. There's one good scene there's two good scenes in the movie. The opening scene where the nuns are running away, and then the very horrifying imagery of the nun jumping out the window with a noose around her neck. That's horrifying. And then there's the chapel scene where I forget her name, but Vera Farmiga's sister,
Thaisa.
where she's having
Thaisa
Farmiga. Thank you very much. Where she had the sort of satanic symbol being ripped into her back in the chapel sort of prayer sequence. That's a damn good fucking scene. The rest of the movie is just glum and boring, and I hope the new one's better.
I think the biggest issue with that film is that for the bulk of it, it just feels like the nun is playing pranks on them.
It literally feels like a YouTube prank
priest, like
movie.
into the coffin. Oh, and then she's just gone and lets him out. Like,
and then
the point.
And then all like the undead sort of things, whatever the hell they were, like bursting through like walls and doors and be like, haha, I got ya. Like, it's a nothing.
Little mischievous Valak.
They're being goofy goobers. Next up, I have two. The next two are both found footage movies, and I'm not a massive fan of the found footage genre. Yeah, they're not particularly high-rated movies anywhere. But you know what? They were serviceable enough. The first one after The Nun is the Chernobyl Diaries, released in 2012.
Oh, I remember that.
It has a bunch of no names in there aside from one guy. Who was that one guy, actually? That's it. It was really funny seeing him in there. I was like, wait, huh? But like, the thing is, it doesn't waste time. It's a bunch of dumb characters. It's serviceable enough for like wanting to go here. The guy wants to propose to his girlfriend, and shit goes fucking south.
In Chernobyl, very romantic location.
Yeah, exactly. That was questionable.
World renowned for being a romantic like tourist attraction.
Yeah. But like I liked how it showed like the side effects of Chernobyl and everything and all the radiation with like the fish scene with like, you know, it being bigger, and then there's the mutant people. Then you find out towards the end, which the ending's really fucking bad. With the whole like, hey, we're gonna like not shoot you here, but we're gonna take you and we're gonna feed you to the mutant sort of, you know, people that are affected by Chernobyl anyway. Like, what the why? Why not just shoot them right there and there? Then and there, like it just doesn't make any sense. But it's a serviceable enough jump spooky found footage movie that isn't even really found footage. It's almost as if the ghost is filming it. It's sort of just a stylistic choice. No one's actually filming anything. It's just filmed in that way almost. Not a good movie, but I wasn't bored. It's more than I can say about The Nun. Next up is I don't know if you remember this one, but As Above, So Below.
I do know of it, but I've never seen that one.
Okay, so this is about a girl who, for personal reasons, wants to travel down into the catacombs of France. And she wants to find, I shit you not, the Philosopher's Stone. And it does reference Nicholas Flamel, and I even did my research. He was a real alchemist and philosopher and everything.
I didn't know that. I thought it was genuinely like a Harry Potter.
A Harry Potter thing. No, I recorded both these movies for a video, by the way. But As Above, So Below, travels down looking for the Philosopher's Stone. Her father was looking for it his entire life before he took his own life. And I even looked it up. Nicholas Flamel was a real alchemist and philosopher in the 1300s who was believed to have actually found the Philosopher's Stone, which grants eternal life.
Yeah. Supposedly.
And then a bunch of people go down. It's a found footage movie. She's really smart. I love the main character, Scarlett, so much. She's actually a really smart fucking character, which is a blessing for a movie like this. But then they have to travel through the 9 gates of hell to eventually find the Philosopher's Stone and get out of there. And the rules of how the 9 gates of hell work are really interesting, in my opinion. It made for a great location down the catacombs. Some very claustrophobic sequences that actually had me a little bit white-knuckled. Like there's one scene where a guy's crawling through, I shit you not, a gap that thin.
Jesus.
And it's just bones and bones. And next thing you know, you hear a bunch of cracking and the ceiling, like above him, starts crumbling and falling. And he has to crawl out really quick while he's hyperventilating and having a panic attack. Like, that scene was horrifying, and it literally sits on that one shot for a good 3 to 5 minutes.
That's a lot in terms of filmmaking. That's a lot.
especially for a found footage
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
The deaths in this movie are some I actually really like because they play towards each separate level of hell out of the 9 gates, which is really interesting from real life philosophy out there of the 9 gates of hell and what is believed to be in the catacombs. And it's almost as if they're being tested from past discrepancies in regards to the guilt of losing a loved one and not being able to help them and all that sort of stuff. And it all plays into the psyche and what they experience down there, which is really cool. I enjoyed this movie for the most part. Like, the acting's fine, the script is fine. The last 15 minutes, however, fucking lose me, and I still don't understand it. It jumps the shark big time, and it's the most confusing crap I've ever seen in the last 15 minutes.
All right.
But it wasn't terrible. Next up, I have Scream Episode 3. It's the Scream TV show. It's serviceable. I actually really liked Episode 3 for the most part. Riley as a character, I really started to love. And then they kill her off at the end of the fucking episode, which made me a little bit fucking mad. Look, these characters are assholes. One of them is sleeping with their teacher and blackmailing him essentially. Oh, if you don't give in and keep our private study lessons and sleep with me, I'm going to post a nude picture of myself in your classroom and you're going to get fired. And I'm like, bruh, what the fuck? One guy is there who's meant to be friends, but he's throwing out like racial and homophobic slurs just because he's a big jock butch boy. That's it.
Always fun.
Always enjoyable to watch such macho men on the screen fighting over money. That's in there, by the way. That's in a Scream TV show. But, the kills are good. Ghostface has an interesting lore behind what he's doing this time, but it almost seems too obvious 3 episodes out of 10 in season 1 as to who the fucking killer is.
Okay.
Which is a massive disappointment. Like, I'm already sitting there going, it's either this one or this one because they are barely in this and never to be seen when something fucking happens. Yet all these other characters are just there when shit happens, so there's no way it's them. So, next up, I have an Australian film, an Australian creature feature called Rogue, if anyone's ever heard of it, featuring John Jarratt, Mia Wasikowska. It has the guy from Terminator Salvation, the Aussie actor in that, alongside Christian Bale. Sam
Worthington.
That's it. It's literally a giant croc movie set in the Northern Territory based on a real-life 26-foot crocodile.
Okay.
Tourist group going through the canyons and everything in the Northern Territory. It's really hot. The tide starts coming in after their boat gets fucking beached, and they can't take it out there because there's a crack while they are being hunted and stalked by a 26-foot crocodile, making for one of the most thrilling and suspenseful 90 minutes I've ever seen in a movie. This movie is insane. It's actually incredible. It's mostly practical as well. There's one scene where Mia Wasikowska's character, because she was really young, this is 2007.
Yeah, that's before either her or Sam Worthington became names.
Big names. Yeah, and John Jarratt was still coming off of a Wolf Creek high at the time. But there's a scene where her character's father literally gets, goes into the water, he fucks up, and then he's like, I'm sorry, reaches for someone's hand, and then the croc comes out of nowhere, out of the water, in the pitch black darkness, grabs him by the leg, and fucking sends him flying out into the water, away from any piece of land, and you see his arm literally just go flying as well, like it's torn off. And you just sit there watching in horror, because this is how crocodiles actually act, with the death roll and everything. It's horrifying to sit and watch. I think Rogue's a great creature feature if you've never seen it. Next up, The Meg. The Meg is a dumb, fun shark movie. I am a massive sucker for dumb, fun shark movies. I know a lot of people don't like this movie.
No. I agree that it's dumb. I don't agree that it's fun. That's my problem with it.
Oh, you see, I find it to be a lot of fun. Stupid, goofy, Jason Statham fighting a megalodon, wreaking havoc. Granted, it's pretty bloodless, which is a bit of a fucking. But then seeing Dwight from The Office be an absolute money-hungry asshole, getting his, upcomings, seeing Ruby Rose and all these other fucking actors in there that are very good with comedy, making a great core dynamic, in my opinion, along with Jessica Mandami, who also played Sonya Blade in the Mortal Kombat movie in 2021. So glad she's back for Mortal Kombat 2. But, I just think it's a fun dynamic. I think it's a fun movie. I love dumb shark movies. I like Megalodons. Give me Meg to the Trench right now, right here. Let's do it. I'm excited.
I'm excited too because it actually looks like the fun version of this one.
And it has a Kraken!
And it has more than one Megalodon.
And dinosaurs!
Fuck yes.
It's the Jurassic World Dominion we should have gotten.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get behind it. So at least right now, before the movie, I can get behind
before the movie.
Yeah.
I've read the book as well, and I'll say that's the Jurassic World Dominion we did get. Because this is based off the Trench book, and the book is phenomenal.
Okay.
I've only got 4 more. I've watched way too much this week. Next up, Saw 2. I love this movie. And right after that is the original Saw. You know why I watched this. It'll probably come up later on anyway. Yeah. I rewatched the first 2 Saw movies for a very particular reason due to some news we got this week. But anyway, next up, Oppenheimer as my number 2 this week. Oppenheimer is Nolan's fucking opus when it comes to filmmaking, in my opinion. This is my favorite movie of Nolan's, without a doubt. As someone who I love World War II history, but the filmmaking, the way it has the attention to detail to real life World War II history, the groundbreaking achievement for what was the biggest gamble in scientific history, but also how it explores the repercussions and ramifications of creating the A-bomb and what it did and how it killed tens of thousands of people in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I love how there was still a good chunk in the movie to go, roughly about an hour, I believe, where it just shows how it affected Oppenheimer, how it affected his family, how it affected all the people he worked with, those who stuck by him, those who turned their backs on him, and basically like, nah, even though they worked on it as well. But ultimately, it was his invention. He did most of the brain work. I love the performances in this movie. Oh my God, there is not a single bad performance in this movie. Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, and I'll even say this much. Oh no, I forgot his name. Right?
Who? Tell me.
Terminator Genesis.
Jason Clarke.
That's it. They're coming for their Oscars. Jason Clarke in the last hour of this movie is the best he's ever been in anything.
Yeah.
He steals every scene he is in my opinion. Like, he doesn't have a big role by any means, but he has such a dominating presence due to the character he is playing, and he plays it so well. Dane DeHaan is... wow, he is really good in this fucking movie. He's no longer Herpes Goblin. You've got Devin Bostick, who, I mostly know from Saw and fucking Diary of a Wimpy Kid. His small role in this movie, he's really good. Jack Quaid is amazing. Matt Damon, he's really good in this movie. There's not a single bad performance in this movie. Oh, Florence Pugh as well. The emotional moments with her.
Fearless performance. And when you see the movie, you'll know what I mean.
It's a very fearless performance.
Like, bravo.
Bravo. Seriously, she is phenomenal in this. I could easily see her getting a Best Supporting Actress nomination for this movie. Seriously, I'd love her to win. I honestly think this movie is going to have a big Oscar sweep. I'm just putting it out there early.
I agree. I'm not commenting too much because I haven't put my review out. So
of course.
I'm going to elaborate on a lot of what you're saying from your side. I'm going to do it from my side. Yep. But yeah, Florence Pugh, man. Goddamn.
Yeah. This is also number 2 on my list, but my second favorite movie of the year. My number 1 is my favorite movie of the year because I saw my 2 favorite movies of the year so far in the same week, in the span of 3 days.
And they weren't Barbenheimer, so...
Number 1 is A24's Talk to Me, directed by Danny and Michael Filippo.
Well, you're Australian. You're biased. I'm kidding.
Oh, shut up, you. This is the scariest movie I have seen since Hereditary, and I am putting that out there. The reactions I got in this movie reminded me of the reactions at the Australian premiere for Hereditary. Something as simple as someone slapping themselves in the face made my entire audience scream. Because we were all, including myself, so on edge the entire time. For the first 30 minutes of the movie, I'm like, this is actually really nice. We've got good characters, a likable lead, good family and friendship dynamics that, if you're an Australian, you understand these dynamics more than anything. Like, the dynamics with the families in this movie are so fucking accurate. Like, not to say too much, but the mother character played by whatever her name is. Thank you. She played Erwin in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And the mother in Annabelle Creation. But when she's questioning the boyfriend character about the drugs, my daughter's blah, blah, blah is off limits, blah, blah, blah. You keep it in your da-da-da. Australian parents really do that.
Good God, that's amazing.
So Danny and Michael, with their script, keeping that as an attention to detail to just Australia in general is really nice. The accents, the kangaroos, and everything in this movie, yes, it does keep to Australian culture.
I hated
that made me fucking sad. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say what it is. But the first 30 minutes, I'm like, this is a really nice, feel-good, like, family. It's depressing, don't get me wrong, because there's other stuff going on. Beautiful family dynamics at times, and also great friendship dynamics. And then something happens about 30 to 45 minutes into the movie, and you have to take a seat back. Like, if I was watching this at home, I would have paused the movie and gone and taken like a 10-minute breather. You know the scene I'm talking about where the thing allows the thing to do the thing, and then the thing happens to that character?
With Riley.
Okay, I didn't want to say it because the movie's not out yet or anything, but that is the character name. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's why I just wanted to say the name to make sure we were talking about the same character.
Yeah.
That's
the
scene.
When this scene happens, I knew from Raka Raka that Danny and Michael would not shy away from anything. But I didn't expect them to go this far. And they do not let up the rest of the runtime. This is one of the most uncomfortable, genuinely tense, suspenseful, ear-grating, and just miserable movies I've sat through in a long time. Like, I mean miserable. I felt at times depressed, but in the best way possible. That's really bad to say. But the effectiveness of this movie and what they set out to do with this story and what the horror aspect is phenomenal. The rules behind it. The ending is amazing. I adore the ending of this movie. It leaves a lot up to speculation, but it's clear enough that you can put the pieces together easy enough. And I love how it sort of folds in on itself from everything else that has happened throughout the rest of the movie. It's fantastic. When it comes out, go see Talk to Me. Go see Talk to Me. It's phenomenal.
All right. And for your weekly rankings, let me zoom in on this. We're starting off with Eric Thorpe with number 1, The Dark Knight, number 2, Oppenheimer, number 3, Batman Gotham Knight, and number 4, The Sopranos, and 5, Old Boy. Now, I've never seen The Sopranos or that Gotham Knight movie, but I don't know that I'd put Old Boy behind those. Again, having not seen them. I've seen the first season of The Sopranos, by the way. It's not like I've never seen any of The Sopranos.
Sopranos season 2 and 3 are pretty good in my opinion.
Excuse me. Jack Alexander. Weekly ranking for reference. I like all these movies. Number 2, Smokey and the Bandit. Number 2, Insidious, The Red Door. Number 10, Edge of Tomorrow. Number 9, The Ghost Protocol. Number 8, Dead Reckoning. I still have Ghost Protocol ahead of Dead Reckoning. Number 7, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I cannot.
Great movie.
For this movie. I do not.
What did you say, sorry?
I don't care for this film. I do not get the love for it.
Wow. Okay.
It's not like, oh, this movie is awful. It's no. I'm completely indifferent to it. Number 6, Barbie. Number 5, Call Me by Your Name. Number 4, American Graffiti. Number 3, Killing of a Sacred Deer. Number 2, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And number 1, Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's been a while since I watched this one, so might be time for a rewatch myself.
Which one, Killing of a Sacred Deer or Perks of Being a Wallflower?
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh, okay. Have you seen Killing of a Sacred Deer?
I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be my number 1 on this list out of all the movies.
I didn't go back to it because I thought it's metaphors and like allegories. I think there's a lot of contradictions there with the literal stuff going on screen.
Okay,
So
that's
I
fair.
didn't quite love it.
Okay.
I like that. I still went thumbs up on it.
That's just Yorgos Lanthimos for you though. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest
yeah,
with the type of films he does, and I
it's
personally
no
love Killing
Lobster.
of a
Like I hate The Lobster. I think The Lobster is shit. The
I do
Lobster,
too.
Killing of a Sacred Deer, the favorite is my favorite of his.
You see, Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Favorite actually like interchange for me constantly.
That's fair enough.
I love both of those movies so much.
I cannot wait for Poor Things. I cannot wait.
Neither can I. I'm so excited.
GOP, number 6, Secret Invasion, episode 5. Still worried for next week. Number 5, Police Story, Jackie Chan classic. Number 4, Liar Liar. Number 3, Barbie, Ryan Gosling. Yes, he is the GOAT. Number 2, They Cloned Tyrone, which I'm going to be watching tonight.
Is that out?
Yeah. Came out, what is it, Saturday? Yeah, yesterday on Netflix.
I've lost track completely of anything Netflix.
Number 1, Oppenheimer. Now, I've not seen They Clone Tyrone. I thought the trailer that came out like last year when the movie was supposed to come out last year looked pretty good. But today I saw someone make the wildest comparison. And again, this is wild because of my opinions on both these movies, but they compared it to Get Out, which I'm like, fair enough. That's a good movie. That's a really good movie. And then they also compared it to Sorry to Bother You, which is one of the shittiest films I have ever seen.
Wow. Okay.
Despise that movie with a passion.
That's an interesting comparison duo, if I'm being honest.
One of these things is not like like the other.
Yeah. What? Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Nathan Madigan, Wiggly Ranking, number 4, Fool's Paradise. This is I believe this is the Charlie Day directed movie, and what I just said is exactly why I didn't watch it. Number 3, Infinity Pool, which I was very disappointed by when I watched it.
Still haven't seen it.
Number 2, Asteroid City, and number 1, Arsenic and Old Lace. And I have never heard of this movie, to be honest. So I'm curious. Because Fool's Paradise I haven't seen. I thought Infinity Pool was mediocre. I thought Asteroid City was also mediocre, to be honest.
I'm finally seeing it on August 1st.
I'm sorry for your loss. No, it's not that bad. It's just it's empty. It's an
I'm seeing The Meg at a screening literally like 2 hours afterwards as well. Like
that's
literally
Asteroid Meg. Asteroid Meg. That's
Asteroid Meg. But that's the thing. Like the Asteroid City comes out a week after The Meg for us. But I'm getting Asteroid City
before.
And then literally like an hour after leaving the theater, I'm then at the exact same theater for the premiere showing of The Meg. And they're both Universal movies. Well, Universal in association with Warner Brothers. But I'm sitting here going, why the fuck would you show both of these on the same day? Like that's bizarre.
You've waited long enough. Asteroid City is out everywhere at this point.
Like every other movie coming in the next couple weeks to our September.
Tony Movie Chappie. Number 3, Small Soldiers. I love this movie.
Love that movie.
Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014. Number 1, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I would definitely put Small Soldiers ahead of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014, but I do like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014, and I still like Out of the Shadows too.
I'll also say my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is actually the 2007 animated film with
correct.
What's his name?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans as
Casey.
That's
Jones. I was going to say Casey Affleck. No, not Casey Affleck.
No. Casey Jones. Dude, the 2007 animated like CG Ninja Turtles movie is great.
The 2007 animated film is the best film, and the 2012 animated show is the best show for Teenage Mutant.
I 100% agree. Even the 90s show is really good still, though. That still holds up in my opinion. I love that show.
Yeah. Deputy C. Scott, number 7, Black Adam. Number 6, Transformers. Ahead of Black Adam? I wouldn't put
it. I don't like Black Adam, but I wouldn't put Revenge of the Fallen ahead of it.
I also wouldn't put Matrix Resurrection ahead of it.
Neither would I. Holy shit.
Thor, Love, and Thunder.
I definitely wouldn't put that above Black Adam either.
Number 3, Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms. I thought this one was a mess. Number 2, Ghost Shell Anime.
Yes! Sorry.
Anime like the anime series or the original anime movie? Because if it's the original anime movie, that's like the second greatest anime movie ever made.
Behind Akira, in my opinion.
Behind Your Name for me.
Yeah, okay. No,
And number
nah, fuck. There's so many good ones because there's even Josie the Tiger and the Fish, which is beautiful.
and all the Ghibli ones, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away.
Bro, you know what? There's too many good anime movies. It's easy to rank shows, and there's more shows than there is
Yeah,
movies
we
for
opened
anime.
a can of worms with that one.
This
And
is
number
another
one,
day.
Friday, which I've never seen, to be honest. I think it's the Chris Tucker Ice Cube animated, not animated film, comedy, where the damn gif comes from. So yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
all right, everyone. And with that out of the way, we wasted a long time on that. So let's just get to the main topic. A piece of news that started out as a rumor, not coming from very reliable sources, and in the meantime, like from one day to the next, became very reliable, became essentially official, not officially official, but essentially official. Kenneth Branagh will direct for Disney a live action adaptation of Gargoyles. And if you follow the show for any period of time, you know I adore this show. This is one of those quintessential shows I grew up with. And it's also the first thing I ever loaded on Disney Plus besides The Mandalorian. The first thing I got Disney Plus when it came out, I watched The Mandalorian, and like, what am I going to watch in the library? I watched Gargoyles. This was a show unlike any other in the 90s, because in the 90s, there were still a lot of censors. There were still a lot of, let's put this character with this design to sell toys, and let's not push too many boundaries because we got to appeal to kids so we can sell the toys and all that jazz. But this was Disney's. It wasn't Spider-Man. It wasn't X-Men. It wasn't Iron Man. It wasn't Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, the Incredible Hulk. None of their like premier Marvel shows. This Gargoyles, this original non-IP thing that by now has become an IP, but at the time, non-IP thing, this was their response to Batman the Animated Series. A long-running, serialized, mature storytelling with sophisticated themes, complex characters, interesting relationships, a deep lore to it all that literally takes from Shakespeare and Arthurian legends and all that. And it is fantastic. And as someone who not only grew up watching it, but has loaded it up on Disney Plus, this show holds up to this day. Not only the animation, but the stories it tells, the voice cast. Keith David as the voice of Goliath is fantastic. And the creator, Greg Weisman, has gone on to be the creator and showrunner of Young Justice and a lot of things that you guys watch, believe me. And he was the guy spearheading all of this. And he was a big Star Trek fan. So if you're a Star Trek fan, a lot of Star Trek people are voices in this show. So if you have not watched Gargoyles, I urge you to finally get on it, because this is a big incentive. As a show that takes from Shakespeare, takes from old Arthurian legends, has this sort of sophisticated, kind of elevated sense of storytelling. Kenneth Branagh is the absolute like perfect choice for it. There were rumors a few years ago that Jordan Peele was interested, and it would be great given what he wants to do with his stories. I could see the relationship as well, but in terms of a fit, at least in concept, there's no better fit for this than a Kenneth Branagh, with the types of stories he tells, the things he is influenced by, his education, and a ton of Shakespeare stories he has told so far on the big screen. I am super excited for it. As someone who loves this property, as someone who loves Kenneth Branagh, this is immensely excited for me. It's interesting that such news is still like coming out amidst the WGA, the SAG strike, and all that. Because yes, this is big for me, but I also understand this is not like the biggest property ever. So it's not like they're going to distract from everything. So it also and it seems like Disney would know that. So it doesn't feel like one of those, oh, look at this, Gargoyles. Don't mind the strike. Look at Gargoyles live. So it doesn't feel like one of those. So I'm very, very excited. I hope we don't have to wait too long. And I already put my fan cast out there. I wanted to cook, and I'm very proud of the fan cast I put out there.
I didn't. I saw your fan cast when you initially tweeted about this because I've personally never seen Gargoyles, but
Okay, that's what I was about to ask. Give us your thoughts on this. If you grew up, if you didn't, like, what are your thoughts, like, with a little bit you know about it? And I'll search for my fan cast and I'll talk about it.
I've never seen Gargoyles. I've seen it on TV like here and there because it was always like a not Cartoon Network, but like a show that was on TV on like a Saturday morning for me, like with replays and stuff alongside like Ninja Turtles when I was growing up. But I never exactly sat down to watch it because it was like Dora the Explorer in a way where it was shown at like a ridiculously early time of the morning.
Oh, okay.
Like Dora and Diego were at like 6 and 6:30 in the morning, while Gargoyles is like at 5:30 in the morning. So I was never awake to watch it. I'm surprised it was still airing and people were watching it at that time of morning, personally. But I'll say this much. I have seen images from it. I do know certain character names. And just from images when I was a little kid, just barely hitting puberty, and Demona was like very attractive to me as a child. I sat there and I'm like, you know what? My fucking anime brain's coming out. I know it's not anime, but it's fucking simp time. Like, that was me as a kid to Demona, even though I've never seen the show. I just saw images and I'm like, yep.
And do you remember Angela? Because it turns out Goliath and Demona had a daughter.
No.
Yeah. They had a daughter named Angela. So, yeah.
Hang on. Angela Gargoyles. Well, damn!
That's the appropriate response.
This feels like dangerous territory for me to be going down right now.
Start the show, Patrick. Watch it in your own alone time, and you'll be fine.
Actually, I'll make sure I also have the moisturizer bottle next to me as well.
Actually, I just said something on the chat when we were talking about like how Old Boy was in last place in Eric Thorpe's ranking, and now Gico EP is asking which Hellboy, and I'm like, I didn't think about that. I didn't think like about a remake. It could be the remake. That's why it's in last place.
It was Old Boy.
Old Boy. Yeah. Did I say Hellboy?
You said Hellboy.
Yeah, sorry. Old Boy. It could be the remake, the Spike Lee remake.
Yeah, no. If it was the original.
Yeah, if it's the original, I didn't see those two things, but I wouldn't put Old Boy ahead of Dark Knight or Oppenheimer. But it would be like right after it. If it is the remake, yeah, chuck that at the bottom of any ranking, of most rankings.
They're where is it? This one. They're showing Old Boy in a theater near me.
I know, because they have
on August
20th
17th.
anniversary. They're not doing that over here. I want them to do that over here.
Yeah, I might go to that because they did that just before the Super Mario Brothers animated movie came out. They showed the original 1990s movie in theaters for the 20th anniversary, and I'm like, fucking what now? I mean, the 30th anniversary. Sorry.
All right.
I went to it.
Did you regret it?
I got drunk, if that's what you mean.
Okay. Not exactly the same thing, but they are somewhat connected.
Yeah.
All right. So I shared a fan cast. I really like this fan cast. I have alternatives. If you have questions, whether in the live chat, whether you have questions or want to know some alternatives, Patrick, let's look at this fan cast. And for those who don't know Gargoyles, I'll direct you to, okay, you can see the cursor on the screen. So this big guy, purple guy right here, that's Goliath. That will be Jason Momoa for me. I think he's the perfect age, has the perfect maturity. And I started a conversation with someone whether they'd go CG and mocap like the turtles in the 2014 and the Out of the Shadows movie. I would go just CGI the wings and maybe the tail, but everything else you can do perfectly with prosthetic and makeup.
With like Demona and everything, with like the little hands at the top of the wings as well. You can even do like what is it? Sort of gimbal mocap suits as well for that, like mocap sort of costume attachments, and then you mocap that to make the wings CG'd, but it feels more natural to the actors with, just makeup. But that would be expensive with the makeup, I must say.
It's true, but it is Disney, and it is Disney, so they
That's
would
true.
have the money for it. It is Kenneth Branagh, so he's like at that level where if he wants to ask for, no, let's do this with mocap and not CGI for the actors. I think he has enough of that. He's not a Nolan, he's not a Spielberg, he's not a Scorsese, but he has enough of that power to be like, hey, I would prefer to do it this way. So I think they would concede that if he asked for it. So for me, Jason Momoa would be Goliath. He's the leader of the pack of gargoyles, the last surviving gargoyles in the world that come from medieval age, and that's all in the lore. Go watch the show. The opening is a 3-parter. They have lots of like 2-3-parters, which just shows you how serialized the show is. It's not just something you can start an episode. And there are standalone episodes. Obviously, there's an episode about gun violence in the 90s on Disney. So
wow,
it's really great.
Also, I didn't realize how long the show was, by the way. Season 1's like 13 episodes, and Season 2's like 58 episodes. And I'm just going, what the fuck?
And then you have Season 3, which is another 13, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it said online.
Season 3, by the way, is not as good as Seasons 1 and 2. Because Season 3 was one of those where the show is ending. So, yes, the creators could kind of do what they wanted, but they also weren't given as big a budget. So
no,
the story is still good. I would still give it like a strong B+, but it's not like all-timer material as the previous seasons. Because Season 2 is so long, because you get so many great stories. You even get like one storyline where they open the doors for like an interesting spin-off connecting to like Arthurian legend and everything they left behind and all that. So go watch this show, please.
I will. I promised. I will. It's now on my like must watch.
So Melissa Barrera, I'm casting her as Elisa. Elisa is a New York police officer who discovers the gargoyles in the modern world, because the gargoyles come from medieval age. Essentially, for reasons, they are put in a curse where they are left in stone for 1,000 years. Because the legends of gargoyles are during the day they're turned into stone because of the sun, and at night they come alive. But they are set into stone in 1,000 years. There's the how do you break the curse and all that. That's all in the first episode. So Elisa is the only like one of 2 like important humans that are part of the main cast. There are other human characters, other important human characters, but like our main cast, along with all these gargoyles in the imagery, Elisa is one of them. I would cast Rebecca Ferguson as Demona. That's this lady right here. She is Goliath's lover, so to speak, and it's an interesting relationship, to say the least. That's all I'm going to dive into that. I could have my first thought when fan casting Demona was Eva Green, but it felt too obvious.
Eva
like
Green?
The roles she has played before, and she might not be interested in these roles too much at this point in her career, to be fair. But I think Rebecca Ferguson is just there. I think she's going to get out of Dune as a franchise pretty soon. So she'll have her schedule a little bit open, even though she still has Silo, which I still need to start. After her, what do we have? We have Keith David as Hudson. That's the old man right here. And Keith David in the original show was the voice of Goliath.
Wasn't
he? I think it'd be like a really cool like nod to the show, but also bringing someone else along that has been on board with the property for a long time.
And I've always liked it when they do that, whether it's like legacy sequels, legacy reboots, or like you do a remake of something as like a faithful adaptation, bring in some of the originals. Like I know that horror is really big into that in regards to John Carpenter with the recent Halloween movies.
Oh yeah,
a lot of what they've done with the recent Saw movies is they brought back legacy directors like what is it, Darren Lynn Bousman and Kevin Gruder with the new one. And you know, if you're gonna bring, sorry.
The Disney live action remakes are also big into that. Like usually it's always cast members, but they always do it. I think it's really nice.
James L. Jones revoiced Mufasa in what is it? No matter how much I don't like the Lion King remake, but you know, we had a Twitter thread about this ages ago when we went back and forth.
Yes, we did.
It was Team Leo and Patrick versus Ren, but you know,
I stand alone. I'm a man on an island, and I don't mind it.
I miss Leo. I need to send him a message.
All right. After Keith David, we have Brooklyn. Brooklyn is this guy, the red one. He is. He wants to be the second in command. He wants to carry on that legacy to become the leader if something, when something happens to Goliath. But he still has a little bit of immaturity with him. If we're talking about like family dynamics, Hudson is the grandfather, Goliath is the dad, and these three guys, Brooklyn, Lexington, and Broadway, are the kids. And if by now, if you're not familiar with the show, you're thinking those are all New York boroughs. Yes, because no one except for Goliath has a name. So in the modern world, that's when they name each other, and they name each other after where they live now in New York. So you have Hudson after the river, you have Brooklyn.
What do you call them beforehand? Do you just go thing 1, thing 2, thing 3?
That there's only brief glimpses, but they just are like, guys, come here, and all that. Like, gather the pack, and
you.
Yeah, something like that. And Austin Butler has like the right kind of energy for Brooklyn. Obviously, if you're not familiar with the character, just look at the guy at the red gargoyle and Google Austin Butler.
He looks
goofy. I don't know. I just see the vision. I also thought of Mason Gooding for this one. I think it could be really cool from Scream 5 and 6. He also has the right energy and charisma.
Yeah, he
does. He comes across like he's young, but he already looks like a man, but there's still youngishness in him. Then you got Lexington, and while Lexington is alluded to like being the exact same age as Brooklyn, as Broadway, he is the kid in the group. He is the shortest, even the way he stands, even the way he walks. And I want to see Gabriel LaBelle as this guy,
the guy from the the Fablemans, and that really good 2018 Predator movie.
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, I think he just fits. He's not too tall, so like stature-wise, he could fit. He has the right energy for it, the right charisma. He can play shy. He can play someone who wants to stand out, but is a little bit reserved and all that. And he just fits like what I said for Mason Gooding to fit into Brooklyn. I say the reverse for Gabriel LaBelle to fit into Lexington, because he is a grown man. He is already an adult, but he has a lot of boyishness to him. He's still a baby face. He could still very believably play 16, 17, 18, and no one would bat an eye. And then finally, we have Broadway, the big muscle of the team, and I would go Paul Walter Hauser as Broadway. I think he's I think he's a great actor. I've just been seeing them in the After Party season 2, and he's great in the show. And I think he'd have a lot of fun with this role, because Broadway is also usually the comedic relief. Like the kids, the three guys are the comedic relief, but Broadway in particular. Then you got the dog of the team, who is Bronx. I'll just bring back Frank Welker to voice him, who voices him in the show. And finally, Antonio Banderas as David Xanatos, who in the show is voiced by the guy Jonathan Frakes, who is like Patrick Stewart's second in command in Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is our antagonist in this show. This is our main antagonist, and I think Antonio Banderas, I just miss him seeing in a good villain role. I was so excited to see him in Uncharted, and then he dies halfway through the film, which was disappointing. I think Jude Law
and Indiana Jones
fit. Oh yeah. But in Indiana Jones, I didn't even know he was in it. So at least I was that.
Really? You had no idea?
Had no idea.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this cast is great. I'm really happy with it. I don't know that any of these will happen, but if Disney wants to find me, they know where to find me. My email is on my Twitter bio. All right, everyone.
I'm trying to think, because Paul Walter Hauser looks so familiar, and I have seen like Richard Jewell and Cruella, I, Tonya, Cobra Kai, and all that. But there's one role in particular that I'm putting his face to that's a comedy role that I can't think of.
Because the first time I saw him was in I, Tonya. So I don't know what else it would be.
Super Troopers.
Oh, I never seen it.
Oh, really?
No, I know what it is.
Definitely.
There was a sequel a few years ago, I think.
They did eventually do a
Yeah.
sequel. It wasn't. It was. That's the one
Fair
he's in. Just so you're aware.
enough. Yeah, but that's my fan cast for Gargoyles. Now let's just hope the project doesn't get canceled or it turns out not to be true. All right, everyone. Thanks for entertaining my excitement. With that out of the way, let's get into your questions. And we start our questions part of the show with the Master of Gaming. Have you heard that Saw 10, Saw X, Fast X versus Saw X? Which one will be the better X? Have you heard that Saw X got pushed forward even during the writers/actor strike? Lionsgate must have confidence in it. Either that or they don't want to compete with Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Oh, that's not it.
It has nothing to do with wanting to compete or not.
It's because test screenings are unanimously fucking positive and saying it's the best since Saw 6.
I'm going to say another thing completely is that Five Nights at Freddy's is competing against itself because it's getting released in theaters and on Peacock. So Saw 10
And
has
it's
nothing
also
to worry about.
And it was also in development hell for over 8 years as well.
And I don't get, like, I don't know that anyone is aware of Five Nights at Freddy's.
There's a lot of people here. Like a lot of people my age in particular. Like I remember going to see Talk to Me and literally we had people in the back row cheering when the trailer played before the movie.
Like over here, like a lot of people are just unaware, like, or, oh yeah, that's coming out. When's that coming out, by the way? There's just the marketing, I don't think, has been strong. And obviously Twitter knows of it. But again, whenever we compare to Twitter, we're always in a bubble. You at least have like a real life example. So cool. That's good. I'm just saying over here on this end, it's just like when it comes to push forward, even during the writers actor strike, again, unrelated because the film is finished.
It was finished ages ago.
Yeah, it was finished ages ago. It's Lionsgate. They need to keep their momentum because they just had a big hit with Joyride, which I haven't seen because it only gets here.
And John Wick Chapter 4.
John Wick Chapter 4, which is the best of the franchise. So yeah, to me, it shows that they have confidence and that they want to keep up their momentum. I didn't know that about past screenings. But what else?
So we officially know the plot now, which I knew about well over like 8 months ago when the movie was actually announced. The plot leaked fucking ages ago, but it's sort of been like a hush-hush thing. But the plot is it takes place between Saw 1 and 2, which is the exact reason why I rewatched Saw 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. It takes place between Saw 1 and 2 and is during the period where he travels to Mexico to seek the experimental treatment he talked to William Easton about in Saw 6, but was denied coverage. Okay. So he travels to Mexico, but when he finds out that this experimental treatment is a ploy for con artists to take advantage of the most vulnerable and those at the worst they could be with like terminal cancer and all that sort of stuff, he decides to take matters into his own hands and take a game to Mexico with his jigsaw isms and puts his victims that are doing all this into a game that takes place in an abandoned hospital.
Okay.
We know that this movie features Amanda Young, so Shawnee Smith is returning. We have Kevin Gruder, the director of Saw 6, the best Saw sequel, and Saw 7, the worst Saw movie. He's directing this one. We've got Tobin Bell returning, where Tobin Bell as Jigsaw is the main character. This is the first movie in the franchise where he is the central focus. Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. This is during a time where he was going through his cancer treatment or seeking cancer treatment, and he traveled to, North America, is it that Mexico is?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in my video talking about it, because we had differing information where it was either in a European country or it was in New Mexico. In Mexico? We had no idea. Literally, while recording the video, we got confirmation it was in Mexico, and I accidentally referred to Mexico as a European country. Whoopsie fucking daisy on my part. That had people angry in the comment section. And I take full responsibility. I was sort of on a high train because I love Saw. Like, I literally have a poster for Spiral right there. But no, so we know that it takes place in Mexico. It takes place between Saw 1 and 2. test screenings are unanimously positive, like overwhelmingly positive, saying that the story this time is great. The traps are just as gory, imaginative, but unique this time around. It doesn't feel like the same wishy-washy shit. And we are revisiting a bunch of old stuff. There are set photos where we see a prototype of the Venus flytrap death mask from the opening of Saw 2. We even see the return of the bathroom from Saw 1, Saw 2, and Saw 7 in this one. There was a set photo, which I'll see if I can find for you right now, showing a actor who's a part of the movie in a trap in the iconic bathroom sequence location from the Saw franchise. But it is not in a way you might think. The what is it called? Okay, a teaser trailer apparently fucking leaked on TikTok earlier today. And I'm seeing a fucking trap right here, which, holy Christ.
I'll continue with the questions while you search for the image. Mr. Jimmy also asks, do you think Disney 20th Century Studios should release the first Omen in theaters on December 1st, 2023? I don't know what the first Omen is, but I don't know what makes that specific date so inciting for them to release like any movie. I don't know if it's full or if it's like so empty, but a lot of movies are coming later in December. But again, I'm not aware of what this movie is. I'm not aware of anything special about that particular date because you went so specific on it. So I have no idea. I don't know if they should. I don't know if they shouldn't. I just have no opinions on it. Do you have any thoughts on this?
What was that one again? Sorry.
Do you think Disney / 20th Century Studios should release the first Omen in theaters on December 1st, 2023? So it's very specific.
No.
All right.
Not really. Not really.
Master Gaming. Master Gaming also asks, what do you think of the trailer for The Exorcist Believer that was played in theaters during Oppenheimer? I don't have any thoughts because it wasn't played in theaters during Oppenheimer. I watched Oppenheimer yesterday, and there was no trailer for The Exorcist Believer. Did you get this?
We did.
Oh, you did. All right. Tell me about it. Because I'm not excited.
There was not a single thing impressive in that trailer. I love The Exorcist 1 and 3. But this is going down Exorcist 2 territory with cheesy dialogue, sets that literally look like fucking sets. It feels like David Gordon Green's Halloween Ends as opposed to his reboot for the 2018 Halloween in regards to story, script, and an unsensical reason for a reboot 50 years later.
From the guy who destroyed Halloween comes...
Well, from the guy who brought Halloween back and destroyed it in the span of 5 years.
Yeah.
I found that photo, by the way. Here we go. We have a set photo from the new Saw movie in the iconic bathroom trap from... Oops.
This time with scaffolding.
Yeah, so this here, I analyzed it, and it looks like his hands are actually sort of bolted to this little bar right here.
Oh, so it's not they're building the set. There's actually going to be scaffolding in the scene.
Yeah, so this is a trap. This is a trap, and I even went back. You can't see in the background where Adam would be next to the bathtub. So this is pre-Saw 1.
Interesting.
This scene is pre-Saw 1.
That's the beta
This is the beta test. Yeah, because Adam's not there because he would be dead there right now between Saw 1 and 2. The bloodstains are not the exact same. You haven't got the big puddle in the middle of the, floor from where John was going.
We might see Gordon.
We won't, because Carrie always doesn't like this franchise. He wants nothing to do with it.
I didn't know that.
He has not seen a Saw movie since Saw 1 and the premiere of Saw 7 because of the lawsuits that went on with them not paying him his royalties properly between 2 to 6. He actually took Lionsgate to court. So I understand that. It's a very common issue with a lot of movies nowadays. I wonder why. But at the same time, we know that the
strike.
Sorry?
It's almost like they should strike.
Well, that's exactly right. Fucking hell. And, Carrie Elways, instead of striking back in 2005, took them to court instead and got actually paid what he was meant to.
Nice.
Him and James Wan apparently are still very good friends, and James Wan is barely an executive producer on these movies at this point. Yeah, but that trap, by the way, if that trailer leak was true that I just saw on TikTok, by the way, there is and it looked very official. The trap is a guy literally with ropes on each limb pulling him separate directions very slowly. I'm just sitting here going, fuck, what? So I don't know if that's real, but it looked very official from the leak.
We'll wait for the official one. Lady Aaron, with challengers being pulled out of the Venice Film Festival, God fucking damn it.
Is it really?
And being moved to 2024 because of the strike, do you think that more movies will be pulled out of film festivals and delayed to next year? So my answer is no, but that's only because nothing right now is announced for the film festivals. Challengers was the only thing so far. It was going to be the opening day. It was going to be the opening movie of the Venice Film Festival. So at this point, I'm waiting to see what is announced just to see if I am going to the Venice Film Festival. Because if nothing is announced, I don't know what I'm going to do there. And I already have my tickets, my plane tickets, and I already have my accommodation sorted. So it's going to be a random vacation with friends. I don't know. Man. It's going to be tough. Andrew C., thoughts on Dune 2 Part 2 potentially being pushed to 2024? Seriously, fuck WB for even considering this. Fuck WB and fuck every studio for not paying their actors and their writers. Fucking pay everyone, fix this, because it's a problem you made, and everything will be normal, and you can have your film festivals, and you can have your panache and your pizzazz and your puppet circumstances and all the red carpets. It's up to you. So stop fucking delaying movies. Don't consider delaying movies. Consider paying your writers, your artists. It's fucking annoying me, Patrick. What are your thoughts on this news that they're considering delaying Dune 2 and two other movies that I don't even remember?
If it gives them the opportunity to pay their actors right, if it gives them the opportunity to pay everyone, as a matter of fact, well, and they are confident that the movie is good, I say go for it. But at the same time, a movie shouldn't have to be delayed because this strike, because the studios are refusing to pay their workers properly. A movie shouldn't have to be delayed because of that. This is an easy fucking fix. Pay your fucking workers well. Pay your actors, pay your writers, pay everyone what they deserve. And you wouldn't have these fucking problems. These things wouldn't have to be fucking considered.
Pay the people who actually make your movies happen, because otherwise you just have a ton of money you don't know what to do with. So yeah. Andrew Steve also has thoughts on Challengers being pushed to April 2024. Again, just very, very annoying, because I really want to fucking see this movie. It looks so fucking good.
I've seen nothing on it. I haven't even looked at any trailers or anything.
There's just one trailer out, and it's fantastic.
That's the tennis movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tennis movie. But I don't know if it's going to be that same way in the film, but in the trailer, like, it portrays tennis so violently and aggressively, it almost feels like a combat sport as you're watching it.
Yeah, right.
Lady Aaron, Dune 2 being delayed. Again, it's same thoughts. Don't do it. Don't do it. Fix this. It's up to you, studios. You have the money. You can fit tomorrow, like, you know what? No, it's still early in America. Today, you can have this fixed. Easy as. Andrew Seif also asks, what are your thoughts on Blue Beetle's low projections for an opening weekend of $15 to $17 million opening weekend?
It's more than I thought it would be.
Let's put this into context. The Flash was tracking for in between 75 to 90 million. It opened to 55. I'm not saying Blue Beetle is going to be the same thing, but let's consider the Flash's momentum that came right after Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods, which was a big flop. And now Blue Beetle is tracking for 15 to 17 million. That's not even a big range for what it's tracking. Like, movies usually are like between 75 and 90. Like, that's 15 million, which is what Blue Beetle is tracking for. Mm-hmm. So imagine if Blue Beetle has the same amount of opening projections as the Flash did, where it was tracking for like 75, it opened to 55. With that logic, Blue Beetle will open to -5 million.
The budget was 120 million, so for it to break even, it technically needs to make over $300 million.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Look, I'm not surprised. The announcement last year from James Gunn, they've severely mishandled and misjudged the impact of that announcement. That announcement did not help the DCU before the DCU came in. That announcement irreparably damaged the DCU. People have lost total interest. There's not an ounce of interest from the general audience, and it's the general audience that makes these movies money. Like, we always love to go see these movies. We go watch them multiple times if you love. We don't make these movies money. It's the general audience.
Here's the thing. Before, like, I'll even look at the Suicide Squad, which had a budget of $185 million. Even with it being released on HBO Max the same day in streaming, it still managed to worldwide in the height, literally the middle of the pandemic, still made $168 million worldwide on $185 million and still was profitable because of HBO Max. You look at it this way: if it was not for the pandemic and if it wasn't for it being released on HBO Max, this movie would have easily made over $800 million.
100%.
When you're looking at the figures, how many people watched it at home? Not just households, people, separate accounts. This movie would have easily made over $800 million. And when it comes to that, I'm looking at Blue Beetle. I'm looking at The Flash. The Flash had so much hype surrounding it up until that announcement. And ever since that announcement, DC movies have been fucking plummeting. Like, not performing at all. The Flash was aiming really high with its opening weekend, but then plummeted every weekend following. Like, the opening weekend was not that awful for The Flash, but everything that followed, every following weekend, it just went down and down. What did it have? Like a fucking 75% drop on
over that? Like, the drops were disastrous. Like, there's no, like, the opening weekend was underwhelming, but it had all the chances to continue having good legs. The drops of The Flash were disastrous. It had no legs. It had negative legs. The James Gunn and everyone at DC, they took away anyone's investment and interest in these characters. And then even if they didn't, Blue Beetle is a C-list character. He's a D-list character. Like, I'm sorry. I love playing with Blue Beetle in Injustice. I love watching Blue Beetle as part of the dynamic in Young Justice. He is a C-list character. He's not. People don't know who Blue Beetle is.
I'm someone who loves the Blue Beetle comic line. I'm one of those people. I know who Blue Beetle is. But the only other way that people know who Blue Beetle is, it's not just a household name like Iron Man. You've never read an Iron Man comic. You've never played a fucking Marvel game or played watched a Marvel movie. You know Iron Man. You know Captain America. Same when it comes to DC. You know Superman. You know Green Lantern. You know Wonder Woman. You know Flash. You know fucking Superman. Blue Beetle, unless you've played Injustice or you've seen Young Justice or read the comic lineup, you don't know who this character is. And most people would only know him from the game Injustice, or if you're one of the people that watch the show of Young Justice. No one else knows him. You would not know who this character is. The marketing for this movie as well has been pure dog shit. Some of the worst marketing I've seen for any movie ever. Because, we've had 2 trailers, but they've sort of just been like, well, here it is. And they've done nothing. Ever since that first trailer dropped, 3 months ago, I haven't seen it played in theaters once.
Really? Oh, wow. Actually, now that you mention it, I think I've seen it once. But even if I did, it's once.
Oh, I did once at a press screening for a Warner Brothers movie, and that movie was The Flash.
Actually, I think mine was the press screening. I don't remember if it was The Flash, but it's got to be, because it's the thing that would make sense, because I think in Air, they played the Flash trailer. Yeah, it's gotta have been the press screening, because I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it at any normal showing, like any just general admission or IMAX showing for a movie that I paid a ticket for. I've seen a trailer once in theaters, and that was for a press screening, and that's out of trailers for upcoming movies for that studio that they selected.
Yeah, and for a type of crowd that already knows that movie is coming out, because it's their job to cover it.
It's our job to know it's coming out. Like, granted, I may not know that. I didn't know until the other day that A Haunting in Venice was a Hercule Poirot movie, but at the same time, I knew the movie was coming. I had no idea, but I've read Agatha Christie Poirot books, and I've seen the originals. I've seen the original show. I've never seen this story, not once.
Yeah, I can't wait because I'm a fan of this trilogy. Again, I'm a fan of Kenneth Branagh.
I didn't like Death on the Nile, but I did really like Murder on the Orient Express. I
really like Murder. Yeah, but Death on the Nile wasn't the best, but I just love the character himself.
Poirot.
Yeah.
Me too.
Lady Aaron, since the Barbie soundtrack released yesterday, have you been listening to the soundtrack or not? What's your favorite song from the Barbie soundtrack? Nope, I've just been listening to I'm Just Ken. And I have listened to Billie Eilish's song, which is fucking beautiful.
I haven't heard it yet.
Don't. Until you see the movie, don't.
I wasn't planning on it. I didn't want to hear anything.
Yeah. Just listen to it, but only after you see the film. But the Billie Eilish song is not like on the album, so it's technically not a part of the soundtrack, even though it's in the movie. So yeah, I'm Just Ken is the best song.
That's it. Is there a comment, by the way, for I'm gonna ask now just in case, but is there anything asking about the Marvels trailer or the new One Piece trailer that dropped today?
Let's see if it's in the list.
Because we've had a pretty big week regarding trailers and movie news, and like even Spider-Man 2, the story trailer for that came out.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh my god, it looks so good. They did my boy Peter Parker dirty though, and I don't know what happened, but he has a really thick neck.
We actually don't have anything in regards to the Marvels, but now that you mention it, I'm sure we're gonna get them. So yeah, let's continue with this one, and I'm sure we'll get. So Blue Beetle projections, Barbie soundtrack. All right, Barbie was released this week. What are your top 5 favorite Ryan Gosling performances? It's one of those questions. I have to remember a ton of performances. Blade Runner 2049, Barbie, Drive might be his best.
Crazy Stupid Love he was pretty good in. The Nice Guys.
Everyone's fantastic in Crazy Stupid Love. The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys.
Lars and the Real Girl. Young Hercules. Yeah, he's just
Horrible Bosses.
Is he in Horrible Bosses?
It says he's in Horrible Bosses. I've literally just looked up his filmography right now to give myself a refresh. Or maybe the internet's just lying to me. What the fuck?
Okay, because the other day I was checking out a movie and there was a picture of Ryan Gosling in the cast, but then the name, instead of saying Ryan Gosling, was this weird name I've never seen before. So it happens.
No, he's in it.
He's no fucking way. I don't remember him in it.
I don't either, but cast of Horrible Bosses. Yeah.
What the fuck?
He's here.
What?
Yeah.
Well, it's showing Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz is not in the first one. That I know perfectly. So it's weird. No, that's Colin Farrell.
No, that's Colin Farrell.
Yeah, it's a weird lagging. There's no way he's in it. Maybe because they're watching The Notebook at some point.
That's probably what it is.
Okay. All right. I can, but it's weird that like, it's so fucking weird that like Google will tell you, oh, he's in the cast, because at some point the characters in the movie are watching. Yeah,
that doesn't really count in my opinion.
Definitely does not.
Because I saw it there and I just thought I mentioned it because I was like, wait, he's fucking in this.
Yeah, I really like the first Horrible Bosses, so I was like, what?
Horrible Bosses 2 is dog shit.
Horrible Bosses 2 is pretty much dog shit. Andrew C. Would Barbie projected to make 150 million opening weekend? Do you think it has the potential to make $1 billion? So I have always said I think Barbie has the potential to make $1 billion. I don't know that it's going to quite make it. I think it's going to do Guardians of the Galaxy numbers. I think it might even do better than Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't know that it quite reaches it.
I think it's going to make $1 billion.
Hmm?
I think it'll make $1 billion, and that's purely because in Australia we never get sold out theaters, even for Marvel movies, even pre-night showings. And every single session for Barbie is essentially sold out for the next week.
Yeah, true. Lady Aaron, now what are 5 of your favorite Margot Robbie performances? Same thing. Barbie is up there. Babylon is up there. I, Tonya is up there. The Suicide Squad is up there. So those are the ones. Wolf of Wall Street is up there. People sleep on a Wolf of Wall Street, but that's when I fell in love with Robbie.
Wolf of Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street. I, Tonya.
Later, since Barbie and Oppenheimer came out on the same day, what are some other popular movies that came out on the same day that left you surprised? And do you think that Oppenheimer will be studied in film for years to come? No, there's nothing to study.
No.
I don't know. I have to be seeing a list in front of me, and I can't waste time like searching for a list.
Jigsaw and Thor Ragnarok came out the same day in Australia.
Did they?
Yep.
Jigsaw Ragnarok.
Thor Ragsaw.
Ragsaw.
Ragsaw. There we go. Ragsaw. No, I remember October 28th. I went to both movies back to back. Jigsaw. That's it. No, I went to both movies back to back. I went and saw Saw first, of course I did. And then I went and saw Thor Ragnarok. And I'm like, why the fuck did both of these movies release on the same day? Like, they're the complete polar opposites. And then all of a sudden, Barbenheimer is doing the same thing. But, like, you know, I just think that's funny. And it's also the most money a Saw movie earned in, like,
I think because I saw my buddy's Griffin's video about Barbenheimer. Apparently, we're getting Wonkapolian in November. So that's happening.
Oh, Napoleon. You're getting Wonka in November. Oh, fuck this.
Sorry.
Fuck this, dude. We're not getting Wonka until January.
Oh, Jesus. That's bad. That's another one. That's another one Warner Bros. Was thinking of delaying. So we might not get it.
I honestly don't care too much about Wonka, if I'm being honest. I just think it's infuriating that we keep getting all these movies late. Because honestly, I'm going to put it this way. I don't think Timothée Chalamet is a good actor. I know that's unpopular opinion. I genuinely don't think he's a good actor at all. I think he's very bland.
Oh my God.
He sort of has the same level of emotion and sort of
don't do this.
Gurriness in every single movie. And I'm like, bruh, you're mumbling throughout most of Dune. Please speak up.
No, don't break my heart, Patrick.
I'm sorry. That's just, you know, but it would be nice, though, to not have to wait for movies while everyone else has seen them. Like, even Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, we're not getting until fucking December 26th, an entire 3 weeks after the US.
At least you got a Boxing Day present. All right.
Yeah, Boxing Day present. I am excited for Napoleon. Mario Brothers.
Huh?
I am excited for Napoleon, though. That looks really good.
Yeah, it does. Super Mario Brothers making $1 billion and Barbie projected to have a really good opening weekend. Do you think Hollywood studios will lean towards more non-TV film IPs like video games, toys, etc., that have a long history and can cash in on nostalgia for many generations? That's still IP. And I don't think Super Mario Brothers worked because it was a video game movie. Super Mario Brothers worked because it did cash in it cashed in on the right things, on what we enjoyed about the games and brought them into a film.
And Barbie used fan service right, as a matter of fact, like little Easter eggs in the background, the original names, the original design of Mario, who was then voiced by the guy from the games and everything.
The Mario movie will use like the references and fan service as like world building. And
Yeah.
because it is Illumination, it was kind of the right fit. It's not the kind of film that tries the hardest. It's the kind of film that tries hard enough. And when it comes to the sequel, that's when it's going to have to challenge itself a little bit and have a little bit of deeper characters, maybe a little bit, not more of a story, but a story at all.
I don't care about Mario having a story. Mario's not even really got a story in the first place. None of these games have a story. I'm here for the world building. I'm here for the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm here to see Yoshi spit things out and go,
But in
"Lasso!"
a movie, you need that, especially in a sequel. You
Yeah,
can't do the same
yeah.
thing again. Barbie
Uh,
works because it's the complete opposite. It's not the film that tries hard enough. It's a film that tries the hardest. It's a film that has a unique voice behind it. It's a film that feels like the natural progression of a director's career and tackling all these
yeah.
interesting themes with nuance and complexity. And it has all this bubblegum candy coated aesthetics to it. And then it is so much more than that underneath the surface, where it challenges the notions of what this doll is, what this doll represented, how this world views the doll for good and for bad. That's why Barbie worked.
Because there are other movies like Barbie where there are movies that have been made based on literally just toys. Like Trolls, I'll bring up as an example, but that's a movie that just doesn't try at all, aside from being an a cappella movie. And
It's
I'm
a
like, all right,
movie that feels like an Illumination movie.
that's exactly right. And it does the complete opposite of Mario. It's a movie that tries hard enough, while Trolls is a movie that doesn't try at all, aside from one key thing, Trolls and music. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, good soundtrack, but that's not enough. Whereas Mario, as we were discussing just before, tries enough to have a serviceable and really enjoyable movie for people who aren't fans of the games and are fans of the games. Barbie is a similar case, but tries the most, as you said. I obviously haven't seen it yet, but from what you're saying, it sounds like it's a movie that tries way more than it actually should have and does what Trolls could have been, as a matter of fact. Because I'll say the idea behind Trolls and a toy property being adapted into a movie is not something I hate. But at the same time, it needs to try, at least to some degree. Like, for God's sake, give me a live-action Bakugan movie. Like, that would be fucking sick. That's mainly, most people don't remember the animes nowadays. They remember the fucking toys and the card game. That's, you know, but at the same time, I actually think Barbie, with its success currently, both critically and box office wise, it might actually get a sequel.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It has to be Ken. The sequel has to be called Ken. And when you watch the movie,
no, not just Ken. He's just Ken.
He's just Ken, or just Ken. The movie is just Ken.
Called Just Ken.
Yeah. Lady Aaron, whenever you receive a mean or hurtful comment on any of our videos on social media, how does that affect you? Do you end up deleting that comment? Do you report that person? Do you respond towards the comment, or do you just ignore? It depends, because there are several ways to be mean. You can be mean, like you can be constructively criticizing something and be an asshole about it. You can be constructively criticizing something and not be an asshole about it. That doesn't hurt, because that, like, oh, did not expect that, but that person actually is trying to help, or at least the comments, that's the way it comes across. If you're being an asshole about it, I'm going to confront you face to face. If you're just saying something stupid and boring, I'm going to delete your comments. If you're going to say something directly hurtful, like mean-spirited, that not just affects me, I'm going to report you. Because if you attack me personally, or any of my friends, or any of my viewers, because I feel, I'm not saying everyone needs to feel this way. I'm not saying this is the correct way. But if anyone in the comments attacks my viewers, the people that are actually fairly giving me their time and attention, this space is for me to protect you. If you come to my channel, I'm going to protect you. I got your back. So if someone is attacking other viewers, I'm going to back those viewers up. I'm not going to let this space become toxic. So it really depends on the kind of mean or kind of hurtful
and the context behind it as well. Like, I'm very much so with you. Like, if you're being hateful, if you're throwing out slurs and slander, I am going to report you. If you're attacking me, most of the time, because of how I cope, I'm just going to laugh and I'm just going to fucking ignore you. Because I just think that's funny. You don't know me. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know my history or whatever. So most of the time, I'm just going to ignore that person. If you attack any of my viewers, I'm going to block you, or I'm going to hide you as from the channel entirely. But if sometimes because of the content I make, I get downright stupid comments. And I've actually brought up an example where a guy on the Banana Splits movie reaction posted a comment saying, "Bro, can you stop cutting it out? We're trying to watch." Referring to me editing around the copyright, me editing around the violence and the gore, and me providing commentary. And I'm just sitting here going,
watch the movie.
Just go watch the fucking movie. And that's why my reply, because this is one of those comments I will reply to be a smart ass instead. I just replied with, "Here's an idea. Watch the movie yourself by paying money for either a rental, physical, or digital edition. My reactions are not created to replace the viewing experience of the movie and have to be edited around YouTube's copyright and community guideline system." So, bro, because he called me that, maybe instead of bitching about me editing out clips or scenes, maybe watch the film in full for yourself by supporting the filmmakers who worked on it very, very hard. In the meantime, enjoy the free content. Also, it's we're trying to watch, not were trying to watch, in quotations, because he had a grammatical fuck up. Like, if you're going to act like that, I will be a smart ass back, but I'll also point out, if this is how you're going to be, just go watch the fucking movie. You can literally rent it for $5 on YouTube with YouTube Movies.
It's also the type of comment where you read that comment and you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to delete this video and re-upload the entire thing without cutting the video's done.
Yeah.
The video's done."
If that's the case, I'm going to get a fucking copyright strike as well if I don't edit it a certain way. I have to, but also, as I said, it's not to replace the viewing experience. Go support the fucking filmmakers who worked on it. This is a small indie film, for God's sake.
Yeah.
They didn't have a lot of money behind it.
It shows.
Yeah. Fun movie, though. Fun movie. Failed Five Nights at Freddy's script, by the way.
Ah, okay.
Fun fact.
Lady Aaron, Ryan Gosling is releasing 2 songs from the Barbie movie on the... No, just...
Wasn't it one?
Just one.
He's just Ken.
Yeah, he doesn't sing any other song. We think Ryan Gosling has better songs and does better singing in Barbie or La La Land?
Neither.
The songs in La La Land are obviously better. I will say he actually shows more range, a wider registry in his voice in Barbie, because sometimes Ryan Gosling's songs in La La Land are difficult for me to sing because his registry is lower than mine. It's about 2 octaves lower, if not more.
He's more of a baritone in La La Land.
Yeah, I'm and then in this one he shows a little bit. He goes a little bit higher, and I'm like, oh, that's like in my registry. I can sing this pretty well, and it's not like too far from me. So cool. Very much not my comfort zone with I'm Just Ken.
What octave are you actually as a vocalist?
I don't remember what the terms are. Like if I see it, I can remember.
Tenor, soprano, alto tenor, baritone, bass.
No, I'm higher. I'm in the higher ones. I don't know that I'm alto.
Alto's like mid-range, but then there's tenor and soprano.
I think I'm tenor. I'm not soprano. I remember I'm not soprano. I'm tenor.
Because I know that Ryan Gosling was more a baritone, not quite. Yeah. He definitely wasn't bass, but he was more baritone in what is it, La La Land? But that's a lot of jazz vocalists when you think about it. Because I did a lot of jazz in high school, and I was a bass and baritone singer because I was taught about vocal fry back in high school as a vocalist, which helped me sing in bass.
That's true. Andrew C. finally want to say congratulations to Zach for becoming a member of Rotten Tomatoes. Happy Barbenheimer Day. I have my tickets to see Oppenheimer today at 11:30 and then Barbie at 3:45. Well, first of all, a great day to you. That's going to be an amazing double feature, my friend. Enjoy. And having seen them both, you are watching them in the right order. Oppenheimer first, and then go home, finish your day with having seen Barbie and the joy of that. And lastly, absolutely, congratulations to Zach for getting accepted.
And everyone, actually. And there was a lot of people. A lot of people got accepted. I didn't even put in an application.
Was accepted. 3
I saw that.
Accepted. And those are it. Actually, those are all the people I know.
Oh, I saw a couple more, but I can't exactly remember their names off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people that I follow that I don't think is necessarily in like our space per se, that I've interacted with that got accepted as well. Like I didn't apply this time because I've sort of given up applying with Rotten Tomatoes because I've been getting rejected for 4 years straight. But
Yeah, I stopped applying a long time ago.
but like seriously, congratulations not just to Zach, but everyone who got accepted. Like that's big, and they all deserve it. All those people who got it really, really deserve it big time, and I'm very happy for all of them.
Lady Aaron, if you could choose only 5 modern movie sets to go onto and witness how it's filmed, which ones would you go to? La
Which one
La
was that
Land,
again?
5 modern movie sets to go onto and witness it being filmed.
Oh,
La La Land. Can I just say Damien Chazelle movies? Babylon, Dune, Blade Runner 2049.
I would.
By the way, because like, how far back can I go?
I would say you would have loved to be on the set of 13 Lives.
Ooh,
You would the Ron Howard.
yeah.
That's the one I did the Secchi traffic control work on. The cave set was 100% practical.
Is that why I would have loved to be there?
Well, no, it's just the cave set alone and how they set up like all the tents and the tarps, so like their base camp. The practicality of that movie was nuts.
Nice.
Like fucking nuts. When I would walk down to get a coffee and seeing that cave set, it was just wondrous every single time I saw it. I think you would have loved to be on the set for 13 Lives. I'm saying that wholeheartedly.
At this point, I would have loved to be on any set working. Better than when I'm working now.
I'd have to say personally, I would have loved to be on the set for La La Land. I'm a big music guy. I may not love that movie, but man, just that movie, the filmmaking itself is wonderful. And just the energy is just insane. I would have loved to be on the set for, you know what? I'm just going to say it, any Saw movie, because I love...
Those are fun sets.
Well, the sets, they always look like they have the most fun ever being on those sets. And seeing a trap sequence in particular, like on a shooting day of a trap sequence, I'm a massive fan of good makeup and prosthetics in movies. And I've watched all the behind the scenes of every Saw movie to date. And it's just the most... Dude, I can't even say. It's mesmerizing. I'd also have to put out Mad Max Fury Road, when I'd love to be on that set. I just had another one in mind, but I forgot what it was, like, immediately after I fucking thought it. Oh, no. Oh, It Chapter 1. Would have loved to be on the set for It Chapter 1.
Nice.
They looked like they had a lot of fun. Bill Skarsgård and the relationship with all the kids. Andy Muschietti as a director and how he looked after them, but also the entire crew, as a matter of fact. Like, really awesome. And you know what? It's not a modern movie, but the Matrix trilogy back in the day, because of the relationship in particular with Keanu
John Wick
and everyone.
A John Wick
Actually, John Wick set. Or you know what? Fuck it.
Mission Impossible.
Deadpool 2. Nice. Deadpool 2.
Yeah. Lady Aaron, what is the biggest and most important review of a movie you've ever done on your Letterboxd? That's specific. Probably, I don't know about biggest, but most important, at least the one I like the most. Probably my Your Name review. Go watch my video review that I did when it originally came out, but the one I did on my rewatch recently, that's probably my best on Letterboxd. So yeah.
I'm just going to say my best reviews I've ever done on Letterboxd. One's a great movie and one's not a great movie at fucking all. Tearing Apart Human Centipede 2 was therapeutic on Letterboxd. That's actually a very well written review of me, I'll say. And then Prey was one of my favorite reviews I've written on Letterboxd. I love Prey so much.
Yeah. Lady Aaron, which reviews on your channel? No, I missed one. If anyone was discovering your YouTube channel for the first time, what are some of your reviews that would recommend for people to go and check out first?
Rogue One for you?
Rogue One for me?
Yeah, that's what made me discover you, and that's what made me subscribe and follow you on Twitter back in the day.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of my Man of Steel review to this day. My Babylon review was one of the best reviews I've ever done. More recently.
Oh, I
Um,
loved your Mortal Kombat Legend Scorpion what is it review?
Thank you.
That's a really good review of
I
yours,
love
actually.
yours. Because whenever you do Mortal Kombat or Saw, like that's Patrick is the expert on that.
So excited for the new Mortal Kombat game, bro. Homelander and
We have a
Omni-Man
question
as
about
DLC.
that. We have a question about
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. I was getting worried it wasn't going to pop up. Oh, your name review as well.
My Your Name review. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna be disingenuous. I don't remember. Like, I remember I did a review for it. It's one of my most watched videos. Even in the early days, like I didn't even have 500 subscribers. The video to this day has 10,000 views. So thank you to everyone who watched it.
Kimi no Nawa is such a good movie, and I feel very happy that I'm one of the people who actually knows the Japanese title to that name too.
Kimi no Nawa. It's so good. So good. I'm gonna cry if I start thinking too much about it, so I'm gonna stop.
Isn't your Jigsaw review as well one of your most popular videos?
It is, because I got a ton of people accusing me of lying about seeing it, so it was a fake
That's
review.
what people did for me for Blade Runner back in the day, but that was the that and It Chapter 1 were the 2 press screenings I was ever invited to.
Oh.
So and people were like, you didn't see these movies, and I'm like, I could literally, like, in the next video, post a screenshot of the invite, but okay, sure.
Yeah. So in Portugal, we have films don't come out on Fridays; they come out on Thursdays, and we always have these like radio contests or these like movie websites, like imagine Collider or Screen Rant or the sorts, but like just Portuguese. They make these contests of answer this question, give us your number and email, and you might win tickets to the previous screening, like on Wednesdays or on Tuesdays, like they do the day before the actual release. So I got one of those for Jigsaw, and that's how I watched it, quote, early. And so I got a ton of people like, you didn't watch this video early. I'm like, okay, good.
I had a lot of people saying that about me as well when it came to Spiral coming out, which is why that video took off. But I was actually really glad about that because people were like, you're such a Saw fan, but you're just lying to get the clicks and everything. And I'm like, what the fuck? I genuinely like saw the movie. I just recorded my review after coming back from the theater. But I'm really glad that that video took off because that's actually what made the director of Spiral actually tweet out my review recommending people. And I still have that screenshot in my camera roll to date because Darren Lynn Bousman afterwards followed me on Twitter. And I was like, bruh, as a Saw fan, this makes me happy. So haters, come on, give it to me.
You know what? The director of Jigsaw probably also noticed my review and was like, I'm going to support this guy. And then he saw what I actually had to say about the movie and he stopped.
The Sperry brothers, who also did Winchester.
Oh, well. Never saw that one, actually.
Not good.
Lady Aaron, on the morning of Barbenheimer, which reviews on your channel hold a special place in your heart and make you most proud of filming the review and posting? Well, kind of the same ones, honestly, that I was saying. But I don't know if you want to shout out some of your best work, Patrick.
Mine's not even reviews, but a lot of mine is like videos based on like movies I'm insanely passionate about. And I'll bring up the Saw movies. Like I'm looking at my channel right now. They're my most popular videos to date, but like my most painful trap since the Saw series video, the how to beat Saw series I did, like talking about how to beat every single trap in every single Saw movie. Like, you have no idea the amount of time that went into those videos, watching the same traps over and over and over again. Some of those traps, I literally went frame by fucking frame. But like, what is it? I'll even say like my ending explained for Fantasy Island. People didn't understand I was getting the characters' names wrong on purpose because the movie was that bad. That I just didn't. I had that mindset still at the time 3 years ago of like big bombastic, like yell at the camera if the movie's bad, with no composure whatsoever. But I'll say that that's a very well constructed video in regards to like explaining the ending, in my opinion, and what my interpretation of Fantasy Island was. Actually, it's not even a movie related video, but the video I did about the Saw video games, literally titled Saw the Video Game is Hilariously Bad. That is one of my That's one of my favorite videos I've ever done. It's too bad it's right next to on my popular list, looking at it right now, to one of the worst videos I've ever done, because it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I can't believe I watched it. And that's Cuties.
Oh yeah, never wasted my time watching that.
I had someone in my comment section recently actually defending Cuties and saying, coming from the guy who likes what is a Cannibal Holocaust with all these things that happen behind the scenes, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know about these things happening behind the scenes. I also judge the movie for what it fucking is, not because of what happened behind the scenes. I am a critic, after all, not someone who has a bias. But, you know, I just thought it was absolutely hilarious, but disgusting simultaneously that someone was defending Cuties, a movie that is meant to be like, hey, don't sexualize children while sexualizing children.
Yeah. Lady Aaron, on the morning of Barbenheimer yesterday, we got some sad news. The legendary singer and crooner? I don't know what that means. Tony Bennett passed away at the age of 96. You listen to Tony's music. So I'm not a hardcore Tony Bennett fan. Like, I know who Tony Bennett is. I know he did songs with Lady Gaga, but like, I couldn't name you a song of his. Like, maybe I know songs of his, I just don't realize are his. Obviously, really sad whenever you have like such a big name passing away. But 96, man, that's a full life.
Good life.
That's a full life.
Really full life.
Yeah. Are you a bigger fan than I am?
No, I again, like you, I've heard the name, but I'm not too like familiar exactly.
Yeah. So Lydia, this is a question for Zach, congratulating him about turning Rotten Tomatoes. But for Ren, do you have any thoughts on becoming a Rotten Tomatoes critic yourself, or would you just stick to YouTube, Letterboxd, and Twitter for your reviews? I don't post reviews on Twitter. I link my reviews, but even if I was to become Rotten Tomatoes approved, I wouldn't post my reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes would link you to my reviews on YouTube, because that's the place to watch my reviews. That's the place to support me. That's my quote-unquote website. It's my YouTube channel. So yeah, even if I became a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, I would still be doing the same thing. As far as look, never say never. I have enough rejection in my life. I don't need Rotten Tomatoes because it's not something I seek the approval of. So I don't know if they send invites ever, but if they do, sure, send me an invite. I'll apply. You'll accept me. Coolio. But if not, I'm not too fussed about it. Maybe one day I'll just be like, whatever, let's send another one, or someone will do it for me. But I'm not right now. I'm not too fussed about it. I'm not thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat personally. Like, I just don't care enough about Rotten Tomatoes. I don't even check the Rotten Tomatoes score anymore when it comes to movies. I used to. Like, I've always, until roughly about 18 months ago, I was always curious about, I wonder what the critics thought of the movie. And I look at the score and I'm like, I either agree or I disagree. Nowadays, I've just started disagreeing more and more. Like, for fuck's sake, there are so many great movies, especially in my favorite genre being horror, that are absolutely squandered by critics on Rotten Tomatoes. And I genuinely don't fucking understand it. And I understand how Rotten Tomatoes works. It's a percentage meter of the amount of positive to negative reviews. Say if a movie has 68%, that's how many positive reviews it has to negative. That's how Rotten Tomatoes work. It's not a unanimous thing. It's a percentage score based on positive to negative. But at the same time, I've had enough rejection. I don't care enough about whether or not a movie has a high score, a low score, a positive score, a negative score, whatever. Like you, if I ever get like an invite to join Rotten Tomatoes, sure. But I've applied multiple times over the span of like 4 years, and I've been rejected every single time. And I've just officially given up. I don't care enough. I try to review as many movies as I can now, but that's not my main form of content. As I'm trying to go more into me wanting to be a filmmaker, I'm trying to be less harsh on movies in particular, because no matter what movie it is, there's always a lot of effort that goes into it most times.
Except if it's a Uwe Boll movie. All right.
Except if it's a what, sorry?
A Uwe Boll movie.
Yes. Or a, what is it? Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is just a tasteless cash grab.
Oh, yeah. I didn't bother watching it. Lydia, what are some bands / artists or artists / brands that make you sad you never got to witness them live in concert? Queen with Freddie Mercury as the lead man. Easy. Done. A lot of people will tell you Linkin Park with Chester, but I did get to see them, thankfully. Um, I was lucky enough to get to see that live twice, actually. I saw them twice. So yeah, that's the one for me. Patrick?
Sorry, I was looking at something.
Uh,
That's my
any
bad.
any artists, bands that make you sad that you never got to witness them live in concert?
Oh, Lincoln Park, 100%.
See, what did I say?
Chester Bennington, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Chester Bennington's song, One More Light in particular, has been my cry in the car song while at my lowest low, but to remind me to always lift myself up, because that is literally a song about depression and suicide. And
For me, it's heavy.
Sorry?
For me, it's heavy.
It's a very heavy. Oh, by Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, bruh. Or Numb as well. Like Numb is a song I relate to very much. But One More Light is a song that has reminded me the impact it would have on my friends and family in those times. If when I was at one point considering, taking my own life, and it reminded me of what it would do, and that the world isn't necessarily better with me not in it. And it's unfortunate that Chester Bennington did go down that road, but I hope he's resting easy. I just do also wish I got to see them in person one day.
Yeah. They are amazing live.
They are amazing.
They are amazing.
Are they really?
I saw them. Who was lucky enough to see them twice in my life with Chester. Yeah.
I remember getting to see Meatloaf live.
Oh wow!
But that wasn't like at a concert. He actually at a football game I went to, he did the opening number for the show. Like he was on a stage and doing that back in 2011, I think it was. He did the performance, and I've always been a Meatloaf fan. I grew up on like Susie Quattro, Meatloaf, and all that sort of stuff. And getting to see him live was really awesome. Susie Quattro is another one as well, but she doesn't perform anymore, I don't think.
All right, Jack Alexander, are there any console movies that you would love to see or would have been a dream project for you? I wish you could have seen the Silver Surfer movie that was going to have a rock ballad soundtrack written by Paul McCartney. Like off the top of my head, I don't remember like any canceled movies I would have loved to see. I mean, Man of Steel 2 sounded pretty good, but
George A. Romero's Resident Evil for me.
Oh, I didn't know he was attached.
He wrote a script, and he was meant to originally direct a Resident Evil movie before they were like, "Nah, we don't like your script. It's not close enough, but it's also too close to the game. Now let's sign on Paul W.S. Anderson." I'm not even kidding you.
Huh.
The father
is so fast.
Yeah, sorry?
What a downgrade so fucking fast. It's like the flat box office week to week.
Yeah, it was like 1998. George A. Romero wrote a script for it, and the only thing I didn't like about the script was Chris Redfield was like a farmer instead of being a member of the BSA and stars and everything. But like that's a minor thing. It still took place at the mansion. It was literally just the first game, except now Chris was a farmer who was like, or like a janitor or whatever who worked at the mansion, instead of being one with a special units stars. And I'm like, okay, but I can kind of forgive that to a certain degree. It's just Chris. He's going to be put in a lock cell anyway, like in the game. Jill's going to be the main character anyway, so fuck off. Then they just downgraded big time. So I really would have liked to see George A. Romero's Resident Evil.
That would be a fit. Honestly, that would get me excited for a Resident Evil movie if that had happened. Jack Alexander, how would you compare the first half of 2023 to the first half of 2022 when it comes to movies? Personally, I think 2023 lacks significantly, as the first half of 2022 had movies like The Batman, Everything Everywhere, Nope, which I thought was a July movie. Well, we got it in July. People might have gotten it in June, so it just about counts as
we got it. I think we got it in August.
Check on Google or IMDb for the US.
I'll just look at 2022 movies.
Cha-Cha Real Smooth, Elvis, Top Gun, Men. Men wasn't good. RRR, Lightyear, Marcel the Shell, which over here in the UK it only came out this year. And I didn't think it was anything special in particular. There have been a ton of movies in 2023 that I really liked. Barbie, D&D, Air, Infinity Pool, Guardians of the Galaxy. However, the only one I truly love is Spider-Verse. Haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. So this question is very subjective because it depends like how you feel about these movies. But even though I don't love Nope, I don't love Everything Everywhere, I don't love Cha Cha Real Smooth, I don't love Men, I don't love RRR, I don't love Marcel the Shell. Like, even the movies that I do like on that list overall, like, I have movies in my top 10 right now that I'm like, these movies are probably not going to end up in my top 10 by the end of the year. But a lot of those movies that you're mentioning ended in my top 10 of the year. Like The
Oh,
Batman, like Elvis, like Top Gun. Lightyear was just this close. Like,
tw-
yeah, go ahead.
2022 had a very strong first half. Actually, you
Yeah, it
had
did.
the Tender Bar, the 355. You had Scream,
I didn't like
Bell.
Tender Bar.
Oh, really? I did.
But I also
Jackass.
got it in December 2021. So to me, it doesn't count as 2022.
Oh, okay. Jackass Forever, Wormwood Apocalypse, which was great. Uncharted was fine. Dog was surprisingly enjoyable. Studio
Yeah.
666 wasn't great. The Batman, Fresh, Turning Red. Operation Fortune, I actually really enjoyed.
Wait, you got Operation Fortune last year?
We did.
We only got it now.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
Yeah. We only got it
we had it released just before it got delayed, like the week before it got delayed.
We got it in like March or April this year.
Wow, you got it 12 months after us.
Yeah.
You got it 12 months after us. Holy crap.
See, Patrick, you got it first.
We had X, The Lost City, Everything Everywhere All at Once, RRR.
The Lost City was so fun. That movie had no
Yeah, it was. Sonic 2, we had The Secrets of Dumbledore was fine, but Ambulance is Michael Bay's best movie in years. Oh my god, what a great movie. The Bad Guys, what a sleeper hit.
Yeah, love The Bad
Guys. The Northman, what is it?
Another
The Drover's Wife was
here.
Yep. The Drover's Wife was really good. I don't know if you saw that one.
Which one? The Drover's Wife.
Yeah. DROVERSWIFE.
No.
With Leah Purcell.
No, I have not seen it.
Downtown Abbey, A New Era was last year. Top Gun in the first half. Top Gun Maverick. The Hole in the Fence was just there.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Mad God. Mad God. What a great Shudder original.
I haven't seen it. I know the name. I know what it is, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, 2022 was stronger. I think 2022 was stronger. Yeah. I would say 2023 has been more consistent. Then again, I'm not watching as many movies right now as I was like last year, but I feel like 2023 has been more consistent overall.
2023, though, the second half of the year just fucking slapped.
Yeah, 2023, right? We're seeing it right now. Like just this week, Barbie and Oppenheimer, two major releases that are proving to be like a phenomenon. We didn't have that last year. And let's see if the momentum is
keeps up. Saw 10. Keep it up for Saw 10, please.
Jack Alexander, this week I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I had forgotten how perfect the twist and shout scene was. Do you have any favorite surprise dance scenes in non-musical movies? Some of my favorites are 10 Things I Hate About You, 500 Days of Summer, Moonrise Kingdom, and Perks of Being a Wallflower. Babylon isn't a musical, but it opens with a fantastic... Well, it's not a dance sequence entirely, but there's a dance sequence within the opening sequence, and I'm probably going to have to go with that one. I don't have a lot of dance sequences in non-musical movies coming to my mind right now, but that one is one that stands out. I'll tell you right now, I have not I think I said this a few weeks ago or last week when Zach was here. I have not loved the movie as much as Babylon since Babylon. And I have loved quite a few movies since Babylon, but not as much as Babylon. Do you have any that come to mind?
Not really, no.
All right, fair enough. It's very specific, so I'm happy I remembered Babylon, but yeah. Jack Alexander, I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody has asked this in the past, but what was your first movie theater experience, if you can remember? For me, it was WALL-E, 2008, when I was 2 years old. You're a baby. What are you doing here? You're a baby, Jack. The first I can truly remember is seeing Up with my grandparents in 2009. Honestly, I don't remember what my first one was. Like, I can tell you, I remember I was there for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1. I was there for X-Men X2, X-Men United. But I don't know what like my first one was. But at the very earliest, at least, it was 2002. I'm sure there was something in 2001 that I've seen. Maybe there was something maybe I was there for X-Men, the first X-Men in theaters, but I don't remember if I was. No, you know what? I remember I saw Monsters Inc. in theaters. And if I remember correctly, that is before Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So I don't know if that is the first one, but I remember I saw that one in theaters. Actually, let's go back. I remember I saw Tarzan in theaters. I remember I saw Hercules in theaters. So Hercules is 1997, so I would have been 5 years old, depending on the time of the year it came out, but it's probably summer. So I was 5 years old. So I don't remember that Hercules is the first one, but I don't remember anything further back from Hercules. So yeah, and I'll tell you a quick fun story. Love Wall-E, top 5 Pixar movies ever made. That is the one Pixar movie I voluntarily not voluntarily, involuntarily missed in theaters. The only other Pixar movie I missed in theaters, apart from the sequels to this movie that I'm about to name, was Cars. That was a movie at the time, 13 years old, 2006. I had no interest in seeing it. And then I didn't see 2, and I ended up seeing 3 in theaters. But yeah. But Wall-E, I missed, sadly. And I regret it to this day. I don't know why I didn't get, but I know I wanted to, and I just didn't get a chance to watch it. Do you remember what your first movie in theaters was?
Is this like in general, or is it like by ourselves with like friends or whatever?
No, in general, just the first movie you remember, if you remember seeing it. What was the first?
So I remember I do have a memory of the first one that I saw in theaters, but like that was way after like seeing another certain movie and everything. So the first movie I apparently ever saw in theaters, according to my mum, was Shark Tale.
Oh my god!
In the October of 2004. But the first movie I remember seeing in theaters, was the first time I was ever actually allowed to go out with friends by myself.
Oh, okay.
I was a naughty boy.
Oh, what
my
did you
friends
do?
and I booked tickets to go see The Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, nice.
But we didn't go see Nicolas Cage's Sorcerer's Apprentice. We looked for the door that said Paranormal Activity 2 on it.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine.
And then we snuck in the Paranormal Activity 2. And then right afterwards, we snuck into the theater to see Saw 3D.
Hey, is 3D is the last one, right? The 7.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we booked tickets to see Sorcerer's Apprentice. It must have been around the October time. But we booked tickets. We literally walked up to the box office, and in Australian theaters, they don't have an usher who checks your ticket before you go into the theater. They just allow you to walk in. That's why my friends and I, we booked tickets to go see Mrs. Brown's Boys in like 2014, and then we went and saw 22 Jump Street instead, because we weren't old enough still. But in 2010, we booked tickets to go see Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nick Cage. But instead, we went and saw Paranormal Activity 2 and saw 3D back to back because, you know, we were naughty kids. We, at the time, were watching movies that we weren't meant to be on pirated websites, on our laptops, or on our iPads and everything. So we decided to do that at a movie theater instead, and somehow didn't get fucking caught. It's lucky that no one saw Paranormal Activity 2 or fucking saw 3D.
True.
Because I remember there being no one in those theaters. I remember there being no one but me and my 2 friends.
Well, that sucks for the movies, but it's fun for you as a viewer.
Yeah.
Tobes, hey Ren, I'm interested to know what made you decide to leave Portugal and move to the UK. Because I want to be a filmmaker, and if I want to be a filmmaker, can't be in Portugal because I have no hope. I'll be doing movies about the little neighborhood in Lisbon because that's every fucking Portuguese movie.
I have to do the same thing from moving Australia to either the UK or the US. I have to do that.
Make good stuff there. My favorite show of all time is from there.
They make good stuff here, but they're usually distributed, funded, and all that from America. So they may be Australian productions. No, they may be made in Australia, but they're American or UK productions.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, So for me to even get those opportunities, I need to move to the US and then maybe come back to Australia to film such a project. And also in regards to like film school, there's better resources and avenues over in the US compared to what we get here.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend of mine who went to Full Sail in Florida, and he actually got to do placement for free, but it was like work experience on it. The possibly getting cancelled Echo.
It's not going to get canceled.
No, but I don't think it will either. But he actually did placement on it because of his studies.
Yeah. A season 2 will get canceled, but yeah.
Oh, 100%.
GGOP, I know you don't give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, but Zach, 3C, Flickpick, and Manuel now being approved critics. By the way, I don't give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, but they do, so I'm genuinely happy for them. If you care about Rotten Tomatoes, all the more power to you. I there's no resentment or judgment there. Like,
No.
I just don't care about it personally. If you guys applied to be Rotten Tomatoes approved critics, what are films you would try to raise tomato meter up for? Also, congrats to Zach and Manuel. Treasure Planet, Men of Steel, John Carter, comfort movie, my comfort movie, About Time. Those are like top 4. Immediately, I would raise the tomato meter up for those. Patrick? I don't even know what the tomato meter is for those, but I'd raise it regardless.
What is Treasure Planet? Because that's one of mine too. Like Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet is like I think it's middling. At least critic wise, it's got to be middling.
69% giggity.
But it deserves more.
Bro, that's a movie. I don't say this often because of how Rotten Tomatoes works, but that's a movie that deserves to be in like the 80s or 90s, in my opinion. Like Treasure Planet is so fucking good.
Let's go all the way.
It's one of my top 5 favorite animated movies of all time.
Oh yeah, it's my number 3 Disney movie ever.
Yeah, it's a perfect movie in my opinion. I don't have a single problem with Treasure Planet. For me, was it The Lost City of Atlantis?
Oh, the Disney movie.
Yeah.
Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
That's what it's called. Sorry, my bad.
You
get what I mean? Atlantis.
I just wasn't sure because, like, is there another movie about Atlantis that I know about? Like, I love like the legend of Atlantis. So
yeah, no, I love Atlantis: The Lost Empire. That is a very underrated movie in my opinion as well. Treasure Planet is another one. Saw, I would raise the fucking score big fucking time.
Babylon is another one.
Babylon, 100%. God, there is another one. Grave Encounters. You know what? If there's a damn good fucking found footage horror movie out there, Grave Encounters is one of them. And it doesn't have a high score, I don't think. Because I watched it for the first time last year, and I immediately fell in love with it. It's just too bad the sequel was dog shit. Oh, it's higher than I thought it was. It's at 60. Oh, it's only got like fucking 16 reviews, but 69%.
All right. Tobes, what's the typical process and experience of the screeners you go to, and what have been your best screeners?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
The process, it's reaching out, getting your name out there, sharing your numbers, your viewership, your content with the PR.
Sharing your page in general. Yeah, I was going to say sharing like your previous work.
Mention, don't brag about it, but mention, hey, I've worked. Like, if you're sending an email to Disney, hey, I work with Warner Brothers, I work with Prime Video on the regular, I work with Netflix, like, they all give me screeners, so...
Yeah. Make sure you have a sort of receipt stamp at the bottom with, like, your name, your email, what is it, city address, and, like, your phone number as well, because you don't need to give them that information necessarily separately as well, so they can just look at the, the signature from sending or receiving an email to that said person, and they'll know immediately who you are, what you are, where you are, your contact information. Honestly, finding contacts and emailing the fuck out of them and annoying them is a big part as well. Like, they will ignore the shit out of you.
Don't be intrusive. Don't be impolite, but be a pest.
Be a bit of a pest. And when you do it, like, I remember when I was before I got invited to Spiral, I was trying to get contact with Lionsgate. My big thing for me back at the time as well, for certain screeners, especially in the pandemic, was subject lines. Capitalize those ones for what you are specifically requesting or asking about. Like, so therefore there's emphasis and they will notice it. Otherwise, it's just going to go in their inbox
Never write
and
too
it's going
long
to get lost.
emails like, I'm reaching out to you because of this. Is it possible to get this and this for this? Blah, blah.
I'll actually see if I can find an old email of mine that I sent regarding like screeners in the pandemic to show like an idea of what you would say.
Also, leverage the information you have in a smart way. Like sometimes friends of mine will get the invite, so I know when the date is. So I innocently reach out and say, "Hey, any seats available for the screening for movie X on this date?" And immediately let him know, oh, this guy knows the screening is happening, so we can lie to him and tell him there's no screening happening right now. Like, no, you know the screening is happening, so you let him know you know. All right, really quick fire because we're way over time on this one. We still have 4 questions, but let's just finish since we're here. GKP, what should Hollywood learn from the whole Barbenheimer weekend going forward, as both films were both critically praised and seem to perform well and are made by 2 filmmakers who had a clear vision more often than just your typical blockbusters? It's difficult to say because that's the thing. They are auteur blockbusters and feel primed movies and stories for the directors that are making them. But also, the release of Barbie was a direct fuck you to Christopher Nolan for moving to Universal. It just so happened that it elevated his status or the status of his movie, while at the same time elevating the status of their own movie, because they are so diametrically opposite to one another. I think if anything, like right now, it's clear that can be learned, don't be afraid of counter marketing movies. So if Dune Part 2 comes out, no, an example that's actually happening, if Wonka is coming out, put Napoleon against it. Those couldn't be 2 more different movies. So don't be afraid of those. Like right now, I think there's because usually you see, oh, there's a big blockbuster, and then there's this small kind of indie thing that people are aware of, that people want to see.
Yeah.
No, be bold. Launch your 2 major releases at the same time of another studio because it's so different.
Yep. I just found that one of those email examples, by the way, if you'd like me to give it out as like an example. The way that I would email them is basically I would have as the subject line the movie title. So for say, what is it when I wanted something for Zack Snyder's Justice League? I had Zack Snyder's Justice League screener link, and this was in the middle of the pandemic.
I usually send just the film title coverage.
Yeah. And screener link is usually very similar in that regard as well. And I just would say, hi, my name is Patrick Burrow, film critic of the Patrick Burrow YouTube channel. I am not politely, sorry, that's not what it reads. I am emailing you in regards to a possible screener link for Zack Snyder's Justice League so I can have a review up simultaneously with the movie's wide release. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to your response. Regards, Patrick Burrow. That's literally all you need to say.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Devin Scott, the release of Gran Turismo in August, could it be the next video game successful movie?
No,
there's no interest for this movie at all. I don't see any interest for this film.
I'm excited, but that's because I played the games and I like giving Blomkamp a chance.
Yeah, his last movie was shit, but I mean, I like.
Yeah, his last movie was Chappie, wasn't it?
I love Elysium. I like Chappie, man. I like Chappie. But yeah, I see nobody talking about this movie.
Wasn't his last movie Chappie?
Yeah, no, his last movie was Demonic. It was my top 10 worst movies of the year came out.
God, yeah, I forgot. Ew.
Demonic was fucking garbage.
And then he also did Raka back in 2017.
I've not seen that one. Let's
no one did.
Before the last one. Scott, have you seen the official announcement trailers for the new characters and DLC for Mortal Kombat 1? I've just seen the picture, and I'm in love. Homelander, Omni-Man, Peacemaker, who else? Ermac. But there's another, like, it's not a Mortal Kombat character.
No, it is. It's Takeda.
Who?
Takeda, Kenshi's son from Mortal Kombat X.
No. But there's another non-Mortal Kombat character. Mortal Kombat 1 DLC. Mortal
Kombat 1 reveals its Homelander and Peacemaker combat pack. Yeah, it's It's Quan Chi.
But it's
So
not a Mortal Kombat character.
You've got. I'm looking at it right here, and it's Quan Chi, Ermac, Omni-Man, Homelander, Peacemaker, and Takeda.
Oh shit! So it is just the three that I was thinking of. Okay, never mind. That's my bad. Yeah.
Oh, they've also.
Peacemaker.
You may be thinking of what is it? The new characters maybe in that new lineup trailer that released with Tanya, Lee May, Baraka, Darius, and
Because
Chameleon.
I've just seen this picture. I've not seen anything else. I've just seen this
Oh,
picture.
okay.
Oh, I was thinking of. Yeah. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
I'm hyped. Considering we had like some of the best DLC characters in Mortal Kombat 11 with Terminator, RoboCop, Rambo, what is it? Fucking Joker was in there as well.
Yeah.
Bro, the amount of clips I'm going to see of Omni-Man versus Homelander fights in Mortal Kombat is just a nuts concept to me.
That's immediately what everyone's going to do. And it's going to be fun.
I'm excited to play as Takeda again, if I'm being honest. He was one of my favorite. I actually think if I remember right, he was my go-to character in MKX.
All right. GKP, final question. I've seen criticism from Barbie, not from the obvious ones, but from other reviewers who actually have credibility, that the movie got a bit heavy-handed with its message, and even, I will admit, I was 50-50, where I thought it was handled well in some scenes and others got a bit preachy. I don't agree, personally. What are some films that got too preachy with its message and that ruins the entire movie for you? Sorry to Bother You is one of those. M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin gets a little bit heavy-handed.
It does. I like Knock at the Cabin, but I will admit it does get a bit heavy-handed with the biblical nature of it.
It gets heavy-handed, but at the same time, the message itself is a little bit muddled. So it's tough to say that it gets heavy-handed. Like, it's trying to say something really fucking hard. But
Good Time towards the end sort of got that way, but they did keep it in the balance. Like, it barely kept it behind the line, in my opinion. I love Good Time. Don't get me wrong. That is a fucking phenomenal movie. Probably Robert Pattinson's best performance, but I'll even say its message gets a little bit almost over that line towards the end. Oh God, you know what is actually a really bad movie that just crossed the line entirely? Slenderman.
Yeah.
Technology and, websites and all that sort of crap. I'm like, okay, you've lost me in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Another one that's super heavy-handed, a big part of why I didn't like it, The Blackening. It's the worst movie of the year so far. It's awesome.
I haven't seen it. I didn't
laugh once, Patrick. I didn't snicker once. So yeah. Don't Look Up is a great shout, GKOVP. Don't Look Up is a great shout. That 100%.
Don't Look Up? What's that?
Don't Look Up. Adam McKay, Netflix, Leo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, a lot of other people.
I didn't actually see it.
Yeah, don't. It sucks. All right, everyone. That is it for this Week in Geek. Thank you so much for joining us on this overtly long episode. I need to get started on my Oppenheimer review so I can get it to you by today. And yes, there will be a show next week, so wait for the Oppenheimer review. Am I giving you any other videos this week? Yes, I am, because Secret Invasion is ending this week. So, yeah, I'm gonna
Saw 10 trailer.
Yeah, Saw 10 trailer, and we get the Venice lineup reveal. So, whatever's gonna happen there.
Saw 10's going to Venice.
So yeah, all right, everyone. Saw 10. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week. And until then, love each other. Until tonight, because you're going to be in the Oppenheimer review. I know I can count on you. Love each other and love the movies.